baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
You how you feeling, Dallas?
Feeling
right?
great.
Yeah.
Feeling great.
Did Disney, little Disney action?
Did a lot of Disney.
Yeah.
A lot of Disney.
Yeah.
Yes,
What?
I did.
Does Disneyland get a bad rap? Because I feel like Disney World is Disney World is the good one, and then everyone's like, oh, don't do Disneyland. You got to do Disney World. Like, does Disneyland get a bad rap?
Well, if that's the case, Disneyland gets a terrible rap. I mean, look, we're talking quite literally two different worlds, right? I mean, really can't be compared. Disney World, and then there's Disneyland. Like,
Correct.
it's a nice land. You know, it's a California adventure theme park. You got Disneyland. It's not the world, not the entire world of Disney. Let's not get crazy.
Right.
It's just it's a little land, you know, a little parcel, a little Disney parcel.
Sure.
And yeah, it is still the happiest place on earth. It's still the magical kingdom, man. It
Are they
fucking
both the happiest
rocks.
place? How can they both be the happiest place on earth? It's just like Disney as an umbrella is the happiest place on earth?
Yeah, I believe there's no, it's not a tangible fabric that binds them together, but I believe that, it transcends. Like from Florida to here, there's like an invisible highway of happiness that you can.
It's kind of like is it like the continental United States is Disney World and Hawaii is Disneyland? It's like it's all the United States, but
well, I mean, you know, Hawaii is a state. It might be more,
but it's not connected.
Well, yeah, I understand it's not connected, but they're
Your microphone unplugged. This guy's using a fucking microphone from the archaic times. So you're going to have to forgive it. I thought you got a new microphone. How the fuck does Dallas not have a new microphone? That's what I want to know.
Well, because Dallas just doesn't complain. You know, I just roll with the punches, and if you can hear me, that's all I care about. I'm not.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Yep. We have the 1972 MVP reflection today, as well as this is the second to last Mount Rushmore as far as the teams go. So I've heard people say, you know, hey, I started listening during the baseball is dead era. Like I didn't listen to starting nine. So now people want us to just fucking start over and do it over again. Like, I mean, it could be interesting because I don't know what I picked before. I have no idea. I don't know. I guess maybe we can put it to a vote in terms of, do we go back and do the starting nine ones all over again, or do we move on to do positions? Or I know that we want to finish with the all-time Mount Rushmore, but people want more Mount Rush. You're gonna get more Mount Rushmores, and I understand you don't want to go back. I don't even know if they exist anymore. I know that they deleted our entire footprint as far as YouTube goes. All those fucking great YouTube videos that we made, but that's all gone. Actually, the California Strong YouTube video is one of my favorite videos that we ever made, and that's just
squashed everything, huh? Damn.
Yeah, I know. I did I did some supercuts and put them on TikTok. It's kind of just like an abbreviated version of what those YouTube videos were, but like the California Strong softball video was one of my favorites. Actually, Jared Goff, who's going to the NFC Championship game, he was in that video. He was on the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Machine Gun Kelly
was there.
Chris Hansen.
Chris Hansen. I was trying to remember I was like talking about this video the other day because
remember me fucking yelling at him around the bases?
Yeah, where's my rose, Hansen? Where's my rose?
I had a ball
Chuck
into
Liddell.
the fucking Pacific Ocean. Yeah.
Chuck Liddell was like trying to, you had to like tag out Chuck Liddell at second base and you didn't want to tag him too hard.
I was like, you're out?
Yeah.
Don't hit me.
There are some names. There are some names in that game. We got to find that. That's definitely on a hard drive somewhere.
Yeah. You know what's great about that video too is I had my friend, you remember my friend came and met us there at the park?
Yeah.
And like I've been wearing her out for the last 15 years about her. I'll just take a random picture of her holding something of mine and it's like the Chronicles of the Assistant Jen, and she gets so pissed off that and so she was like holding something of yours. She had my bag in her hand and I just took a picture and I just blow her up. And she was like, you know what? I don't care because I got to meet the Bachelor that day because the fucking the Bachelor dude was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I believe you're referring to Chris Harrison, right? Because if you're asking Chris Hansen for a
To
rose,
catch a
that's the
predator?
why don't you have a seat over there guy? I think you're fucked if you're asking him for a rose.
And you know what, Jay? Hey, maybe that's why Chris Harrison was not as responsive as I maybe would have liked.
Hey, Chris Hansen, where's my rose?
He's like, I don't know. I just want to hope you got your hands above the table.
Yeah, now that I think of it, I think you did call him Chris Hansen. I thought his name was
100%, Jared. 100%. 100%. Hey, and you know what? I remember hitting second base. It was like, all right, Chris Hansen. I was like, fuck, that's not his name. But I'm going with it. I'm going, where's my rose, Chris Hansen?
Yeah.
Well,
for 4 years,
5 years
I
later,
just thought they had the
it'll be
same
corrected.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he listens to this pod. Yeah.
It doesn't exist, though. That's the great thing is that video doesn't exist. You'll never be able to tell me that I said that.
Yeah, he's probably like, what a fucking asshole this guy is.
He's like, this
why is
dick.
this lunatic screaming at me about the Predator guy? That's tough.
Good times.
I would have I didn't correct you because I had never watched The Bachelor. This is not something that I ever had in my arsenal.
I just got a little excited. Sorry.
Yeah. Well,
and it was Rob Lowe, and then Rob Lowe fucking alligator armed me over at first base.
Yeah.
I make a fucking incredible play in the hole, left-handed mention. And,
left-handed shortstop.
Just a fucking dot over to first base, and fucking Rob Lowe. Nothing.
Well, that's because our skipper, Christian Yelich, put me at first base, and I just refused to take the field.
Yeah, Jared just refused to take the field, which is something I should have done when Yelich had me hitting 39th on a fucking roster with 22 people. You'd be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, there's one position I won't play is first base. Like I don't need that in my life. I don't want that in my life. Like you gotta know footwork. You gotta have it.
You just don't want to get blamed. You don't want to get blamed for being high enough up there.
Yeah, I mean, like if Dallas throws me a 3-hopper and I don't pick it, guess what? That's my fault, or at least it's viewed as my fault. It'll probably be an E6, but everyone will blame me for not being able to pick it. It's like, well, it was a 3-hopper to first base.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
I feel like you should be able to gather that. It's essentially a ground ball. 3-hopper, that's a ground ball.
Yeah. Well, there are some things that are pretty simple, like betting with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs. And they're bringing you an offer that will help make the playoffs electrifying. New customers can bet $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. The Dallas Cowboys, they advanced.
They're going to buy this week. We're on the field next week.
Mm-hmm.
Next week. Yeah.
I will say this, though. For all the hate that the Kelseys have gotten, how can you hate these individuals? At least Jason Kelce. Like, did you see the video of him in the parking lot just like slugging beers with Bills fans?
Bro, I've been on the Kelce wagon for a long, long time. And I remember fantasy football, people were wearing me out. They're like, bro, he's not the next Gronk. Why are you on his train so early? He's not. And I'm like, dude, I'm not telling you he's the next Gronk. I'm telling you this is a bad motherfucker. And people wanted to wear him out like, oh, he's trying to be somebody he's not. He's not this personality. He's trying to be Gronk. It's like, well, there's not room for a guy to catch passes and like what he's doing and have fun. There's room for, and that's who Travis Kelce was. And then you find out who Jason Kelce is because just kind of like by proxy, right? Oh, he's got a brother. That's cool. Oh, he happens to be an elite badass as well. Oh, wow. Like 13-time Pro Bowler, fucking champion. Like it's a great story. And then you got Mama Kelce, right? The Kelce Bowl, and then Taylor Swift. And you just add all of it together. And I think people are probably like, bro, is this too much too soon? This is a lot of Kelce on my plate. I don't know if I need all this. And I'm here for every morsel of Kelce on the plate.
Yeah. Well, the video of Jason Kelce picking up a young girl from the crowd,
showing her,
bringing her over to Taylor Swift's suite, like that's cool. That's pretty cool.
Well, it's, you know what it's like. It's like it's like you go back in the day, like cavemen, right? And he's like, hey, hey, we got young child. See, young child, she loves you. And Taylor's like, it's great. It's like he's just he's an awesome dude. You got a 300-pound man just lightly tiptoeing around the fucking stands, slamming beers, shirtless, bringing children to meet their fucking idol. Like, come on. What about that is pissing you off? If that's pissing you off, then you're watching this through the wrong fucking lens.
I agree. Jason Kelce should be the, what is it? The Time Magazine Man of the Year?
Yeah, I want Jason Kelce to like, I want him to narrate a cookbook for me. I want to read him.
You like his voice?
I like the way he's, there's
That's
something
Sean Connery.
to it.
That's Sean Connery.
And I was trying to get away from the English accent. There's something that it's like a full.
That's not what he sounds like at all. That's definitely.
It's you know what I'm getting at. Yeah, it's a raspy. It's a bear. It's like a log cabin. Like he reminds you that you're hunting or maybe ice fishing. He's talking to somebody who's got years of expeditious experience.
His voice doesn't match his hard exterior. Like he looks like a hunter gatherer.
That's what I mean, but there's like some scruffiness to it, but there's not like
still Sean Connery. Yep,
it was. You're right.
Yeah. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code Jared, Jared. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only in the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Jared.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
Joe, how's your manifesto YouTube video coming? I feel like
what do you mean by that?
We're on week 8 of waiting for it.
Have you built a sub to go do some research, Joe?
Yeah, what's up with that?
I'm almost done with it.
Yeah.
So where we at?
Yeah, where are
should
we?
Be out tomorrow. I think it should be out tomorrow.
That's a big update. Okay. Do you have a time? Or is it
probably
just
an hour long?
An hour long.
Close to it.
I can't see. You very rarely see YouTube content creators putting out hour-long videos. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Are you venturing into? I mean, this is more than a dalliance into long form here, Joe.
It is extra long form.
Have you?
I don't know dalliance, but yeah, I agree.
Have you considered putting it like on like Patreon and accepting donations to be able to watch it?
No, I have not considered that. I think that would be not something I would do because I don't have a Patreon.
That's why.
I don't know if anyone was going to pay for it.
I don't know.
I mean,
it's as good as we all think it could be.
Well, we'll see, dude. It's probably about the same as everything else, just a little longer.
Okay.
So depending who you are, you might like a little longer. You might fucking not like a little longer.
Yeah.
But it's really up to you, up to them.
Okay.
It's your first dalliance with long form, Joe. We're gonna find out.
I mean, it's pretty. I've had some long forms. I've dollied, but like an hour. I mean, we're looking at a 25-page script right here, guys.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Do you? Yeah. How many times, Joe, do you have to like stand down and shift out of like video voice, Joe, and then you're like, goddamn, hold on, fuck. All right, we're back, and that sounds wrong. How many times do you gotta?
No, I mean, if I just read the words off anything, I'll just go to that voice.
It's just that's just your reading voice.
That's just your reading out loud voice.
Yeah,
yeah. Practice. Read me something in your YouTube voice.
Let's go to Twitter.
All right.
Well, I don't know if I could read anything. I guess the script writers could. No, it's got to be mine.
That's definitely not what you sound like on YouTube.
That was extremely.
Yeah, you sound like you're cutting a wrestling promo. And you know what, Dallas? On December 13th, at the Silver Dome, brother.
Let me tell you something, Jared. There's been many a nights where I've sat going over terabytes and terabytes of information, but not today.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
The auxiliary cards.
That's the problem. I write in my own voice, so I write it and then I read it in my own voice. But if someone else is writing it, I can't read it.
Okay, so it has to be in your words to be able to speak it that way.
How about I just read my latest brand deal?
Yeah,
Can I do that?
Yeah,
you know.
Oh, humble brag.
I'm just kidding. But in 2000, yeah, I can't do it in front of you guys. I'm getting nervous.
Stage fright.
Yeah,
it's just like you're.
So with only a few. Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to do this.
That's fine.
It's a two-way. Yeah,
it's kind of hard for me to do this.
I don't think I can.
You see, Joe Buck was on.
Can we turn the lights
take?
off? This makes me uncomfortable. Yeah.
You see, Joe Buck was on Pardon My Take recently, and they just like had him say things that they always wanted to hear in Joe Buck's voice, and he could do it, bam, like right on command.
Well, that's his own voice, dude. I got 2-3 voices over here.
Yeah, but he has broadcaster voice, and he has like just chilling Joe Buck voice.
Yeah, talking.
Yeah,
talking voice.
Yeah, you have YouTube Joe, and then you have podcast Joe, and I'm sure you just have like lounging around Joe.
Yeah, I legit thought you had somebody else narrating your videos.
Yeah.
I'm just staring at the script right now, reading it in my head, and I'm like, I can't read this.
He's never been more awkward and more uncomfortable right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So what are we talking about?
We are talking about the Anthony Rendon podcast.
Oh, that was bullshit.
Well, you think he got railroaded?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's get into it. No one even noticed this quote from this podcast until a particular podcaster found it and tweeted it out to the tune of 3.5 million views and counting on Twitter.com via the Jack Vita show. Anthony Rendon was the guest on the program. And, this is a guy that we all know, like, hates baseball. He just does. It's like, this is not like, he didn't come out with this take and everyone was like, what? We thought Anthony Rendon lives and breathes baseball. Like, it's been a narrative for quite some time. Like, the man has publicly said baseball is boring and he doesn't watch it and he can't watch it. Like, he's already said that on the record. And this is a dude that has told reporters, I don't speak English, to be able to avoid speaking about his health status. This is someone that hasn't played. He's played 148 games total since 2021. Basically hasn't played a full season since 2019, which was his last year with the Nats. So, I mean, it's not hard to read between the lines here that this guy doesn't exactly love baseball. But this, I think this is the audio of it. So you can make your own determination of tone and everything else.
That's important. In print, that's important.
Yeah, in print, it doesn't sound as great. Here is the actual quote.
If you could change one thing about Major League Baseball, if I gave you that power, what would you do?
I'm going to say something very lighthearted so I don't get in trouble when I get to spring training. So I'm going to give you all an Anthony Rendon answer.
The first of the day, hopefully.
Yeah. We got to shorten the season, man. It's too many dang games. 162 games and 185, 3 days, whatever it is. Man. No. We got to shorten this bad boy up. Let's go.
So obviously he's not joking. With the benefit of tone and context, it's not like he's joking about that. He's not saying like, man, like I don't play a lot of games, so we got to shorten the season. Like, no, he means that shit. And I think, obviously, I don't agree. I'm sure that there's probably plenty of baseball fans that do agree. We're like, oh, the season's too long. I think that those fans that would say that are not baseball fans first. I think if you're a baseball fan first, then you're definitely in the minority about shortening the season. I think baseball fans want more baseball, not less. If you're a football fan first, but you kind of dabble in baseball, I'm sure you could probably get down with a shorter season. And I'm sure that players themselves, if you anonymously polled the entire league, it would, maybe you would get a surprising amount of active players that would be agreeing with Anthony Rendon. So I think it's more so the case is the topic is worth the discussion, but you picked the absolute worst messenger to relay that, I guess,
just to use a name that's already been brought up once today. If Christian Yelich were to have said this in this manner, in this fashion, it's you talk about it, and is there anything to it? Is there not at any point in time do you feel like this is an indictment or a revelation of the character of Christian Yelich? But because Anthony Rendon does have the stigma attached to him, and justifiably so, with some of the opinions he's brought to light, he says it, and because you already have that feeling of who he is and how he perceives things and his effort level, or at times perceived lack of effort level, when you have that guy as the one talking about how what he has to go and do for a living is just too much or is too long and they should shorten it up, and he has everything coming along with him that he does, that is the absolute last place you want to hear that from. So that is why he is being worn out the way he is now. But it's just another rock on the pile. It's just another rock on the Anthony Rendon pile of rocks that continue to build up, that continue to have people feeling a certain way about him. So is he doing himself any favors in terms of trying to change the view of how people look at him and how he views the game? No. He even told you he started laughing as soon as because he knew, he was like, oh, here we go. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm going to explain it, though, in a way where it doesn't sound like I'm just this, because I know, I get it. I know how you look at me. He knew it right away. And so I almost asked this, too, from a baseball fan perspective. What about the length of the season is it that frustrates you or angers you or is now has become such an inconvenience for you? And if you're going to tell me that you're a diehard and you're into it and you want the regular season to matter and it's just too long and with the postseason being opened up a little bit, then I think we can start to have that conversation. But I ultimately wonder, like, if you're a fan of a product, isn't more of that product what you would want?
Yeah. Jay, it seems like you have a thought.
Yeah, I think that's undoubtedly true. And I am all for more of the product, but Dallas hit on something that I think is the takeaway here, that if the message from the league repeatedly over, the better part of, really the last couple of years, but you could take it all the way back to the institution of the wild card in the mid 90s. If the message from the league is that we are constantly going to, in some way, de-emphasize or contort the regular season to a point where people are openly questioning how much does this matter with the playoff format the way that it is, I think that is a fair, and Dallas said it's fair, I think that's a fair way to go about this conversation. I don't think the regular season is too long, but I can understand that sentiment when you have the postseason play out the way that it does this year specifically and in many years generally.
And I would wonder if, is Rendon coming from a place where he's like, you know what? Like, I haven't been able to physically live up to the contract. And maybe that is part of where he's coming from deep down inside, where he, for whatever reason, maybe doesn't want to say it, can't say it. He's like, and you know what? Like, honestly, fuck. If the seasons weren't this long, maybe I'd be able to be a little healthier. And maybe I would, maybe he's thinking that. That's
the most generous possible interpretation, and that's fine. You should put it out there. I think this just shows a not a surprising, but still a remarkable lack of awareness, because it's not just that Anthony Rendon has a reputation as being the guy who wants to play less baseball.
I think he's aware, Jay Hay.
But okay, no. I think he's aware that he's the guy who is known as the guy who doesn't like baseball. 100%. What I think he's showing a lack of awareness for is the timing specific to the fan base that he and the organization that he plays for. It is fucking crazy to have one of the people who is absolutely necessary for, if the Angels have any hope, forget a World Series championship, if they have any hope of a relevant season, it has to include Anthony Rendon playing 120 plus games or whatever it is. And for him to come out and have these comments clearly in a lighthearted manner, but also that he meant them, like you said, for him to say that coming off of the offseason where you lose Ohtani, your trade deadline was a disaster. You were not speaking English at the end of the season to avoid talking to reporters. Mike Trout ended the season injured again.
He was battling through. You got Mike Trout out there battling through, coming back early from a hamate because Shohei is fucking grinding it out too. You got both of those dudes going, we will fucking piece together whatever we can to get out there and try to make this happen. And who do you have over in the corner? Rendon going, this takes too fucking long, man. What the fuck are we doing?
And this is essentially his first public comments since the season ended, as far as I'm aware. And for this to be the tone that you're setting for a franchise and an organization that is just in a real down and out state, he doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt on this shit. From any angle.
Yeah, and what sucks about this too, Jay, is, man, when you have a dude like this in your room and everybody knows that whether you like him or not, he's going to be impactful, that's such a tough place to be, because you want to bring him in the fold, right? You want to make him a part of the group because you figure if he feels comfortable and that interaction is going the way it is, then that's only going to be positive for everybody. Who wants to show up to work and not have friends there, right? So you try to bring them in, but then when you bring them in, it's almost, what you're getting, I don't want to call it toxic because I'm not in that room with those guys, but it's almost like, well, what we're getting, we might not really even need this. Maybe it's better off kind of over there. And hey, if he does great and we get the 3-for-4 Rendon tonight, fantastic. If we're getting the 0-for-4 Rendon and he's not going to talk for the next week because it's not good, well then so be it. Whatever.
Hello.
Hey Max, what's up, man?
What's going on, dude?
We were just talking about Anthony Rendon, who I know you the last couple of years you've bet on Anthony Rendon to win the most valuable player in the American League. A guy that I think you have great affinity for and appreciation for. What did you make of his comments that kind of went viral yesterday?
You think did you guys think I watched the entire 119-minute video interview?
Did you watch all I feel like that's something that you would do. Yeah,
I did. I watched the entire thing. So, I mean, I texted you when it came out, and it was like, it's weird because it got like really religious in between, like, and like my first instinct, it was super religious, but my first instinct was like, who do you sell your soul to get a 1-hour interview with Anthony Rendon, or however long it was, like 90 minutes or whatever? Like, how do you do that? Because he doesn't sit down, doesn't do anything, and then all of a sudden he just pops up. Maybe this guy's like an industry plant, but yeah, I mean, you guys are just, I think everyone has it all wrong. Like, you like guys, you baseball personalities with like no 9 to 5. Like, everyone's in favor of a 4-day work week, 10-hour days. I think he's got it right. I think we should just do double headers every day, and then just have like a half the time season. Because then he wants to see his family. He wants to be, like, that's a big takeaway I got from it. He's a big family guy.
So a bunch of people messaged me after I put the tweet out there saying that wasn't even the worst quote of the whole podcast, and that there was somewhere in there that he said, like, man, no one's got it worse than baseball players. Like, we never get to see our kids. And like, did he not like imply that he embellished his injuries as a means to spend more time with his children? Did that happen in the interview?
No, I don't think he did that.
I feel like you're the wrong person to ask, because like none of us sat here and listened to the whole interview. But like, I feel like if he did do that, you wouldn't fucking tell us.
No, he would, dude. That would piss me off too. He's on my team. It's not like he's on the Royals. Like, I want him to play. Like, yeah, that's the issue. But like, there's been so much stuff dug out, and kind of I think like all Angels news is going to be like this, where it happens, and then like 3 weeks pass, and then you guys finally get it. Like, it floats up to the top. I think that's going to be our entire year this year. But like a lot of quotes from like when he was on the Nats, like his manager was like, "Yeah, this guy has no heart, no pulse. Big moments don't scare him." And I guess we like we didn't understand that correctly by when he said that. It's like, yeah, he just doesn't care. It's not that it's a big moment. He just doesn't like it doesn't bottom of the ninth World Series or like just like Tuesday at Pachanga. Like it does like nothing's gonna faze this guy. He just doesn't care.
I mean, I guess that
I don't know,
that helps to some degree. Like Manny was that way. Like Manny did not give a fuck. He put in the work, though. I think that's the difference. Is that Manny?
Time out. Manny, even when Manny was not Manny was still working, and Manny still cared. Like Manny cares.
Manny put in the work. Like he cared about being great, but he didn't give a fuck if they won or lost. He's just like, did I go 3 for 4 today with 2 doubles and a home run and 6 RBI? All right, cool. What was the score? I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. Don't care. Like he publicly, like when the Red Sox were down 3-1 in the ALCS in 07, he was like, it's just baseball. Like he genuinely didn't give a fuck. Like which is a different kind of not giving a fuck than Rendon has. Like Rendon, I feel like just doesn't like baseball, doesn't care if he ever plays another game again as long as the check clears.
Yeah, and Manny always took there's a saying, like you take the elevator to the top. Like Manny always took the stairs to the top. He was a day in and day out guy.
Yeah. Manny put in the work behind the scenes. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask Dallas, because I know like baseball players, like it's a frat, you don't snitch your homie out. We all probably work somewhere where we know someone that is just there getting a check. Like how common is it to have a guy in the clubhouse just like on the surface, at least, I don't know about deep down if teammates could know something different, but like on the surface, it's just like, dude, you don't give a fuck. Like what, like, you know, like, are you just going to, basically you just endure like media for 2 years and take $38 million a year? Like that's the payoff. That's the trade-off.
It's not and I don't want to say not this prevalent. When I say this prevalent, I mean Rendon is sort of out there at this point now as a guy who does have that label attached to him, right? So no, it's not something that you see a ton of in the clubhouse. It's not like every year every team has one, you know, to an extent you might have guys that are a little more vocal just about the, you know, the ins and outs and the grind that comes along with 162, but I mean, you don't see this every day. No, where it's just like, damn, like you don't, you know, you really do. But that's why I think the context and hearing the voice of Rendon in his statement is important, because again, he's having the conversations with some of the other teammates that might have just a little bit deeper understanding of where he's coming from and who he is. And one thing that you always have to remember is the relationship between the player and the front office. Sometimes what the front office can do, or the impact of the front office, takes a relationship to an irreparable place, where now you have created something between you and a player who now has to be in this room, and you might not understand that what you've done and what you've caused has gotten to a point where this player doesn't care about your bigger picture. He doesn't care about his impact on your other players. And I'm not saying that Rendon is there, but you always have to think about, remember what happened with the broken leg? He was wondering, why have they not just told people what's going on? Why have they left it to me to say this? Why haven't they been? Do you remember that, Max?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Big day in Angels history.
Yep. So a lot of back and forth as well.
I wouldn't like, and then you get guys like, you know, Papelbon, like I probably wouldn't say it to his face, like, you know, but like, well, why the fuck is he coming in from the top rope being like, yeah, this guy doesn't care. Like, what the fuck? Like, bro, go make sure your dog doesn't chew up your World Series ball.
Because Papelbon gives a shit, because he cares.
He does.
He cares, and he wants to win. Like, he wanted to win. And when you want to win, and you've got somebody in the room that, like, I hate to get all fucking serious and shit, because I know it's kind of a lighthearted topic here, but like, bro, we're sacrificing shit, man. Like at the very base level, I'm not having the relationships that I'd like to have with my friends and family. I'm letting a lot of things just pass me by because I've made the commitment to this game. I've made the commitment to my craft. I've stayed disciplined, and I need that from the other 25 individuals I'm in this fucking room with. And if you are not that, then I need you to get the fuck off this train right now.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Papelbon is the dude who snatched up a future Hall of Famer by his fucking neck because he wasn't running shit out the way he wanted it to happen. Because Jonathan Papelbon believes certain things should be done a certain way. And when you've been to the promised land, when you have been to the mountain top, nobody gets to tell you that that's not how it should go. Because you have all the fucking evidence you need in a bright, shiny championship fucking ring that tells you, I do know how it goes.
Hold on, Max. For anyone, because we always get yelled at when we talk about stuff on Twitter. Like, we'll have listeners be like, well, what if we're not on Twitter? You guys just talk. So Papelbon, all right. We listened to the quote before you came on, Max. I took a what's that called? A transcription of it and said, nobody hates baseball more than one of the game's highest paid players who gets paid not to play. Papelbon quote tweeted that and said, I can definitely confirm Carabas here. Played with Rendon and literally hates baseball. Yeah, it's long. Isn't that what you signed up for? Just tell the team you want to play half the season and give back half your salary. So, I mean, like, Papelbon has made a career outside of baseball for being the guy that'll just say whatever he feels and doesn't care about the repercussions. Like, we all saw the dugout incident with Bryce Harper. This is not just like a Twitter shtick now that he's retired. Like, this is just who he's always been.
That's Pap.
That's just Pap for you. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not a surprise when he says, yeah, I played with Rendon and he hates baseball because, well, I think if there is a surprise at all, it's that they were teammates with the Nats and that's when Rendon was good. Like, it would make way more sense if you had a teammate of Rendon's who only played with him with the Angels and he was like, yeah, I can confirm that guy fucking hates baseball. But he played with him with the Nats when he was a player that hit free agency and commanded the 9th highest contract in baseball history for average annual value. Like, the fact that he quote unquote hates baseball and was so good that he's a top 10 player all time in terms of salary.
And you have to think about where Papelbon is coming from. You talked about having, like Manny and his care factor, whatnot. Papelbon has been around guys, uber stars, superstars, stud himself. So he gets the whole dynamic. He understands, how personalities may fit, where they may fit. And if you're a dude, do you know how much rope you have to be to be an asshole? You get a lot of freedom to be an asshole if you're a guy, if you are producing at an all-star rate clip. You get a lot of leniency. And so for him to be that guy and still just kind of be looked at like, bro, he's still an asshole. Like, still doesn't like it. Like, it's still, that's telling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have the time in your day to go listen to the entire thing. He kind of just keeps bringing up family. It's like, dude, well, if you're just like a family guy, like if that's like what you want and what you want to do, like, I think you have enough coins in the bank. Like, sit this one out. Like, let someone else come and slide up in there. And again, I don't care if you don't like baseball, as long as you play well. And I don't know, this contract he's played, you can't even rate his play like for this contract. And in my brain, and in probably a lot of Angels fans, like, this starts in the off season where Garrett Cole was a free agent, and it's like these guys, the Angels always hand out money to everybody. And, like, it goes back to that. It's Garrett Cole's fault. It's Garrett Cole's fault that we have him. He probably would have went somewhere else, would not been our problem, and I probably would have been laughing at him instead of having to stand up for him every year. And and I don't know, like that. Maybe they should do something.
You don't have to do that, right? Like I had a third baseman that got a bunch of money and was fucking terrible, and I just went the opposite route. And then guess what? He got released with half of the fucking salary still remaining. I bullied my problem off the team.
I used that card already on Full Host. I was like, hey man, we're already done with that. And then he ended up going on doing cool shit somewhere else. I can't keep bullying guys out of town with big contracts. This is like,
that's a good point.
I don't have it in me.
That's a good point. You should save the next bullying chip for the contract that comes next that's even worse than Rendon's, because you never know. Those are always coming with the Angels, so like you are wise to kind of hold your chips.
I don't know.
Good job, Max.
I honestly don't know who else we could give a big contract to. I know you guys have probably been talking
find
about
somebody who's look at rosters and find somebody who sucks ass, and then pick that guy and give him $250 million.
What do you need, Max?
No.
You need pitching?
Yeah.
You need pitching? Go get yourself an outfielder. Go get a center fielder.
No, I think our pipeline with those 20 pitchers we drafted, I think like 3 of them are still around. So those that'll be something to look forward to. And we got Zach Plesac and
draft.
Robert Stevenson, who I had to like look up. Robert Stevenson. I know. I guess some people say he's pretty good. He's like the guy who invented train tracks. So we got him. And like this is just again. What is this offseason saying to any player in the organization that like, hey,
there's
man,
no hope.
We're
That's
gearing up for it. Yeah. Hey, we're going for okay, but that I feel like you could do that, yeah, if you're the Royals or if you're fucking the Twins. But you have Mike Trout on this team. How do you just do that?
Oh, don't remind me.
Because it's not just an Anthony Rendon problem; it's also that this organization is poorly run.
Mm-hmm.
What's a place that like old people go on like vacation, like not vacation, but like towards the end? Like what's a city that's known for that? Like in Florida or something?
A town
like Coral Gables or some shit, or I don't know, some city in Florida where everyone's just old and just like chilling.
Yeah,
that's gonna be the Angels. That's the Angels in the baseball world.
Yeah,
I wonder. You know how like teammates from like legendary World Series winning teams, like 30 years after they retire, they get together and you see the photos pop up of like these old guys hugging each other. I wonder if like the string of players who have absolutely robbed Artie Moreno blind get together in the offseason and are like, hey, wasn't that just awesome? Like if Pujols and Hamilton and Wilson and Rendon and the whole crew just gets together. Was Gary Matthews Jr. Moreno, or was that Gene Autry? It doesn't matter, but he joins.
Gene Autry. Yeah, it is an oddball group. It's almost. I was watching this movie last night, the fucking GameStop movie of investors or whatever. Like that Angels, like the people that made big money with the Angels, like and contracts didn't work out, which is like all of them except probably Trout. They probably have a club, and that's probably going to be my Baines
That's
meter.
like turning into not working out too. By the way.
I mean, it is though. You know, come on. You're like directing too much anger at.
I'm not. Listen, I'm on your side. I'm on your side. I know, but so it was Albert Pujols, and it's
what? But it's Mike Trout. It's like that's like America's sweetheart. Like
no,
you know what I mean? You can't.
He doesn't have that clout. He doesn't have that clout. Mike Trout has averaged over the last 3 years. What, like?
Are you trying to tell me Mike Trout is like the girl that was taught in high school and now is still at the same dive bar like 15 years later?
Pretty much. He's getting there. I mean, I still love Mike Trout. I still love Mike Trout, but I mean, 36 games played in 2021, 119 in 2022, and then 82 last year. Like, that's where you're at for the last 3 years.
Unbelievable.
It's a dive bar with a nice rock fountain.
HIPAA, nice little HIPAA laws there, Jerry, talking about health. There's this. I mean, if you guys, I'll tell you this: if you guys want to come out to an Angels game, May 15th, they're doing a cooler backpack. This is the sickest backpack I've ever seen. So if you want to do a baseball dad meetup, I think weren't you guys doing like a charity thing? Like raffle off a game with me somewhere and see if that'll raise a couple bucks. Yeah. Make it on cooler backpack day. Yeah,
I would do that.
I'll go to a game with someone.
Yeah, because I want Angel fans to know that just because the only time we talk about the Angels is to like talk about how terrible they are and to make fun of them, doesn't mean that we don't love Angel fans. We love Angel fans. So maybe we'll do a game with Max giveaway on May 15th for the backpack.
The cooler backpack, yeah. It's the cool. If you look it up, or Connor have tweet a picture of it, it's the coolest backpack I've ever seen, and it's a cooler.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, Mickey Moniak got engaged. Shout out to him.
Yeah, that's huge.
Doing that. He got engaged. That's awesome. Logan O'Hoppy's getting a bobblehead. That's
pretty cool.
Again, massive news.
Yep.
And then we haven't. It also says something like Jay Hay was joking about it. But like, it also says that we haven't given anyone $250 million that doesn't deserve it. So that's snaps, right? That's how you learn. Baby steps.
Yep.
You know. And then other than that, Angels world. I mean, we're all full. I don't want to say full throttle. We're all full gears ahead. Going forward to spring training.
What were your thoughts on the Angels doing the Mickey Mouse ears giveaway when the Dodgers are in town?
Bro, that was the Giants, bro.
Oh, that was the Giants? I thought that was the Angels. Why would the fucking Giants do that?
It makes sense. It would make sense for the Angels to do it for sure. No, but I mean, when the Dodgers come to town, you don't need to promote anything. The Dodgers fans just fill it up.
Okay. I thought that was. I just assumed it was the Angels because that makes sense. At least because I'm sure that I don't know.
Come on, they're not thinking that far ahead. Come on.
Maybe it's a West Coast thing. If that happened on the East Coast, there'd be so much like public outcry and like they would get canceled and because the organization would be like, well, we didn't do that. Like we just we didn't do that on purpose. But you know, the Angels actually have plausible deniability. It's like, yeah, we're
for sure. Yeah, that would require like next level kind of thinking that I don't know if they're trying to take shots at anyone.
Yeah.
You know how like Jared was complaining about like fucking whoever is not going to be at Red Sox fan fest to get booed or ask hard questions. Like the Angels don't even have that.
You guys don't have.
They got fucking monster.
You guys don't have.
No, they got Monster Jam going on right now at the stadium, like monster trucks and dirt bikes.
Oh, that's sick. I would rather have that.
Well, yeah, but you can't boo Artie Moreno on a dirt bike. Like, he's just going to be a regular guy. Like we don't even have Angels Q&As. We don't have nothing.
That's sad.
Maybe that's something you guys can help us fans. I don't know.
That sucks, man.
Maybe Dallas hold a Q&A from the booth, like pregame.
Well, yeah, you can talk to Dallas about that because the A's also don't do a fan fest either.
Well, the A's are going to be playing in Salt Lake, no? So watch out for us. We're going to be raking there. We played there a lot. So our guys are going to be raking there. Joe Adele's like 18 home runs there.
Yeah, he's a AAA king. All right. Any last thoughts, Max?
Yeah, that app that I have. You didn't text me back, so that's not a good sign.
Well, we started the podcast. You sent me like a paragraph, and I was like, oh, this is something I'm going to have to actually
you didn't even
read, sound it out, like come up with like a thought, like logical response back. Like we started the pod, you know. I can't do business deals and podcasts at the same time.
Got it. Okay. Well, yeah, you guys all have first in. I'll let Jared explain it to you. You guys all have first ins on that.
Well, I'm not going to share your idea on a national baseball podcast if someone just patent it and then it's my fault that someone did it without
when you guys do your weekly brunch at Baseball's Dead brunch or whatever, like talk about it.
All right.
Or whatever. So
okay.
All right. No, it's been nice talking to you guys. I'm glad I'm not drunk this time, and yeah.
Thank you, Max.
See you guys.
Great to hear from you.
Great to hear from Max. Yeah, he's got this business idea for a baseball related app, and he sent me this paragraph, and I was like, buddy, I'm doing the podcast. I can't react to all this at the same time. Sounds like Max could use better help, for being honest.
Fact.
Which is great because Baseball is Dead is actually sponsored by BetterHelp. And around New Year's, we get obsessed with how to change ourselves instead of just expanding on what we are already doing correctly. And maybe you finally organize one part of your space and you want to tackle another, or maybe you're taking your supplements every morning and now you want to actually eat breakfast too. Therapy helps you find your strengths so you can ditch the extreme resolutions and make changes that really stick. Because I said I got out of therapy for like a year. I went back recently, and my therapist has magical manifesting powers, and it's not always good. Like, I'll start talking about something in a therapy session, and then that week in between sessions, like that person will like pop back up in my life, or like something will happen that will make them relevant for like that week. It's been very weird. But it's also good because it's been forcing conversations that need to be had. You know, you're getting closure in some areas. So therapy is, I would recommend it for anyone that needs something like that. Just to talk through things, just to have that person that there's no judgment. Not everyone has a Dallas Braden that they can just call up and talk to about things. You know? If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Celebrate the progress that you've already made. Visit BetterHelp.com/baseball today to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/baseball. We've had some promo codes that are like .com/dead. I feel like we shouldn't do that for mental health ad reads.
Good call.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad we went with baseball. Josh Hader to the Astros.
Ooh, bred me up.
Yeah.
The most lucrative deal in reliever history.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying, what about Edwin Diaz? Edwin Diaz had deferrals, so that's why deferrals. Technically Hader's deal.
I'm going to come right out and say it, man.
What are you going to say?
I don't know how excited I would be about this, knowing that Josh Hader just absolutely refuses to give
go
you
more than
outs.
one inning. Yeah.
To give you 4 outs. Now, maybe now the training wheels are off. Maybe now the bumper guards are down and you're just rolling down the alley, and he'll roll it as many times as you need him to roll it. Maybe now that's what you get. But I can tell you from experience and from conversations, and having a guy like that with his superpower, his capability at the back end of the bullpen, you want to be able to rely on him, and you can for the most part. Each and every day you dial his phone number. The problem is when there's times where you'd really like to get a hold of him and he could really help you out, like maybe he's right next to the store and he's the one that could grab the extra carton of milk for you. If he's not hungry, he's not picking up the phone. He's like, look, I'm good, man. My bowl of cereal is full. I've got milk. You need milk? Well, I don't. Right now, that milk's just a little too far away from me. And I don't know how excited you can get when you realize, or it feels like, he's an awesome guy. He's a great talent, but we're only going to be able to deploy him when we're up by 3 or less. Like, he's not giving us 4. We're not getting that fucking hold him here. Like, we're not getting any of that from Hader.
Yeah.
But don't you think that goes away if you sign the biggest contract in reliever history? Like, they have to have covered that. Like,
well, Joey,
paying you $95 million.
Trust me, brother. I would love to be able to tell you that that's the conversation that has happened. I want that to be the conversation that has happened. And you would like to think that that would have been a conversation that had happened previously. And maybe it did happen, Joe. And maybe you got the answer that you got. And maybe, just maybe, there's a couple people who aren't around in the same places they were together because that conversation doesn't set well with folks. When you have a manager who knows how important it is to have a guy that he can rely on down there in the bullpen, and he should be able to trot him out accordingly, and that guy just doesn't want any part of it, well, now you sort of tie the hands of your skipper, and you put other guys in your bullpen and on your team in a different spot because you're not willing to do what's being asked of you. And now if you're a player who's being asked to do those things time and time again and you're not comfortable with it, you're like, look, man, I'm out of here. You guys aren't getting the message. This is who I am. This is what I do. And this is how I do it. And if that's not good with you, well, then get me out of here.
Well, I mean, if you're 30, he's 30 years old. You signed a 5-year contract. So you already got your contract set for that till you're 35. What is even the logic of trying to stack saves and isn't that the point of that?
That's now for me, that would now be out the window, right? Like, hey, I got the money. I got it. So what do you need? Like, I wasn't stressing myself out, and I wasn't stringing myself out, and I wasn't leaving it all on the table for whoever was going to run me out there, a la Joe Madden or Aroldis Chapman in 16. Like, I'm just not going to let you do that to me before I hit my payday. It ain't going to happen. And so now he's hit his payday. And now that's why I said, it was the first thing out of my mouth was, I'd like to think that once you get the paycheck, all those training wheels are off. Like, you need me to go 2 innings? Fucking done deal. You need me in the 7th, non-save? Done deal. That will be interesting. Do we get that?
I hope so. I mean, that would kind of put him in Rendon territory, in my opinion, if he really won't pitch more than 3 outs, or if it's not a closing.
You go look it up. Go look up his game appearances. Like it's not.
I know that was a thing, but after you get the fucking mega deal.
Yep. I'm with you, Joe. And I'm speaking from, if I were Josh Hader and I had all of the arrows in my quiver that he does, but I had my personality and I had behaved the way he had up to this point, I would have no problem telling you. No problem telling you. You think I was going to run out there day after day without the payday? It wasn't going to happen. This is a business. And I have fought to get to this point, and now I'm here. You want me to pitch on Monday? You want me to pitch on Tuesday and then every other day between now and Sunday? Done deal. I'm your guy. I mean, I might not be your guy in year 5 because I've done everything you've asked me to do in year 2 and 3, and now I'm shit in year 4 and 5. But if you don't care, I sure fucking don't, because I got paid. So what is it?
I don't know that I care. Like, yeah, it'd be great if he threw more. No, I'm serious. Like, I would love to see him do what you're talking about, but I love this signing. As much as you can love a high dollar relief pitcher contract, and maybe the listeners are surprised to hear me say that about a closer deal, but like, I think if you look at this Astros team and like where they could have conceivably spent some money this offseason to make the team that was already very good better, I think they landed on the right spot. And that was the bullpen, because for as good as Presley and Abreu are individually, they last season and their depth chart right now reveals that they don't have a lot that you can count on in the bullpen beyond those two. And I think that these I think you can make a very credible argument that Hader, Presley, and Abreu, or whatever order you want to stack them. Hader's going to close games, but whatever order you want to stack them in, that might be the best 1, 2, 3 punch of any bullpen in baseball right now. And so like, yeah, do you want to pay, almost $20 million a season for what amounts to a 3-out, 1-inning pitcher? Maybe not if efficiency of spending is your number one priority, but the number one priority for this team is winning a World Series, because they're ready to go outside of some issues in the bullpen. And Josh Hader was the best relief pitcher available. He's one of the 4 or 5 best closers, one of the half dozen best relievers of any stripe in Major League Baseball right now. And I think it was a pretty wise move for them to shore up the bullpen with this spot.
And Jay, I agree with you. What I'm thinking about now, though, is now we're in August, and it's Presley and Abreu who are going to get the work in situations where you might not want it to be Presley, or maybe you don't want it to be Abreu. Maybe it could be Hader, and the matchups line yourself up for it to be Abreu or Presley later in the game, and Hader's going, look, I know the matchups might tell you that I'm the guy for you right now in the 7th, but remember, I only pitch and save opportunities, and that's not this right now. So I understand, but you're going to have to go to somebody else. And now it's almost like having a shortened bullpen, and it's not because of injury. It's just because of what this individual's willing to do and not willing to do. I'm like, as far as how he fits in and the alleviation of it's a great addition. It is a tremendous addition. I'm just interested to see that adding this guy to this mix with all that he comes with, what does that look like? Is he now still somebody that has to be sort of navigated around and coddled to an extent? Does the manager have to play for that still? Because if so, then there's a little more to him arriving here. It's not just, hey, fuck it, here we go, pedal to the metal. Because you're right. I agree with you. Where else were they aside maybe taking a look at the rotation and realizing that you're probably going to need another arm to help out there? There's going to be some time missed. So you're going to need help there. But my interest is, does Hader finally say, fuck it, I'm going to be the dude that everybody wants me to be, or that everybody thought I should be, and I'm not going to protect myself anymore? Because if that's the case, I don't like Don't you want to live in a world where Hader does give you that, and then you see what that looks like, and you're like, holy shit, this is a fucking joke. This dude's an animal.
But to me, that's more of like an in-season, we see how it goes type. You're right to be on top of it, but I'm like, even if the worst case scenario plays out, quote unquote, and Hader wants to be coddled and used only as Josh Hader wants to be used, to me, that's still a better bullpen than a bullpen without Josh Hader, where those opportunities are going to Rafael Montero or something like that. Like,
agree.
Yeah. So,
yep. Agree.
I still think that like they can unlock something with Montero as well and make this a four-headed monster.
No question.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
He's got crazy swing and miss. It's just that he's a little hittable. I don't want to say a little. He's hittable, but he's got the swing and miss. Like, he'll get you the punchies. Kendall Graveman, we found out, we didn't really cover it on the podcast, but last week had shoulder surgery, so he's going to miss the entire year. Otherwise, you're talking about potentially 5 dudes in a bullpen that can just shut shit down. But that's a luxury that no teams have. Like, just talking about the fact that you have Abreu, Presley, and Hader, if you don't even want to factor in Montero, you're having 3 dudes at the back end of a bullpen that, I mean, Abreu has closer shit. Presley's done it, and Hader's doing it. So that's what you're kind of dealing with once you get to a tight ball game past the 6th inning. You better tighten up, you know. Like,
and there's a very real feeling when you get to that point in the game against that bullpen where you're like, well, shit. It kind of takes you back to 2015 Kansas City. It does. You're like, this is it. I mean, they and it is. It's still
Kansas City didn't have Justin fucking Verlander or even Framber Valdez.
No, they
you know what I mean? Like,
or Christian Javier.
And that's why that's why that blueprint, man. God damn it! I swear to God, one of the things that keeps me up late at night is what the fuck, Colorado? Why the fuck did the super pin not fucking work out? Because God damn it, that could have been the biggest selling, but that could have been right. I don't know if that works out for Colorado, we might not even see full-fledged rotations at this point in baseball if that works out in Colorado, because it was the blueprint. It was absolutely the blueprint.
That's the one fucking organization that should not have tried that.
The phrase "if this works in Colorado" could be applied to basically the entire franchise history. Yeah. Like, every idea they've ever come up with, if this works, look out for them. They just never work.
Right. Joseph, any thoughts on Hader?
Yeah, by the way, just one final thought, like, to the point about, like, outside of the front 3, that this bullpen has some questions. This is also a front office, like the current iteration of the front office and the previous version, who have shown a willingness to go out and get bullpen supplements in season. And you guys brought up Graveman. He's a very recent example of that. Montero is also an example of that. So, like, to go out and get those 4th, 5th, 6th best people in a bullpen, I'm confident that this team can do that in season. I like the fact that they've got that absolutely monstrous front 3 in place, even if Hader's only throwing an inning.
Yeah. I'm gonna make a phone call. I did not tell this person that I'm calling them. I do not know if they're going to answer. But we're gonna find out.
What?
What's up, boy?
What's going on?
We're talking about that Hader signing, boy. Them Astros. You need to give me your thoughts on it. Yeah, give me that. This is a 3-headed monster in the bullpen. What are your thoughts?
Dude, I mean, it's so unlike the Astros to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And what that tells me is, like, okay, the window's not closing. Because a lot of people thought the window was closing. And signing Hader, I mean, that's Jim Crane saying he's putting his nuts on the table, like, hey, we're still going to be competitive. Don't worry.
Is that out of all the areas that the Astros needed to address this offseason and spend money, are you happy that it was the bullpen, or was there an area that you wish that they focused on more so than an area where they already had Abreu and Presley?
I'll always say pitching. Pitching, it always comes down to pitching. And after Kendall Graveman, he got announced out for the season.
Yeah.
Like, they needed someone in the pen. So, Hader, I mean, the perfect signing. Good pitching at the end always wins.
So I'd rather, even when I play MLB The Show, I'll trade for like Tyler Glass now. But if my starting rotation's like already locked and loaded, I'll put him in the pen. You know, I'm telling you, pitching. It always comes down to pitching. Is it? Are we on the podcast?
You're on the podcast, yeah.
Hey, Jay, hey, I'm sorry.
Why? Why are you sorry to Jay? Hey?
Why are you sorry, Tex?
I think I tweeted at him to suck my nuts or something a while back.
Oh. I'm sure it was a friendly. I'm sure it was a friendly suck my nuts. Yeah.
No, I told you your balls are made of pussy. That's what it was.
I missed that tweet.
Oh yeah, my bad. Sure, I thought you were shitting on me. Well, if you were, the tweet stands.
I honestly don't even know what we're talking about.
Yeah, what was the context?
It was like Jack Mack was talking shit after I left, and Jay Hay was like, the high road was available. I thought he was talking about me not taking the high road.
No, I think he was probably talking about Jack Mack throwing dirt.
I don't remember that tweet, but if it was a Jack Mack situation, I am supremely confident that I was talking about him.
Okay. All right. Well, my bad.
You and I never had beef.
No, just Dallas. Really.
Yeah.
Well, you can't blame me for him.
You also, you initiated the beef with Dallas. You made a Twitter account dedicated to tweeting highlights of home runs that he gave up in the big leagues. Like, that feels like a you problem.
And I could still be running that account.
Yeah, you could.
There's so many damn videos of him giving up bombs.
Yeah.
Well, there's really only a limited amount. There's really, you can actually put a number on it too. It's not like this fountain that just keeps fucking going. But I mean, you could put it on a loop if you wanted. But
Wait, Dallas, aren't you the all-time leader in not giving home runs or some shit?
What?
I saw it, dude. You have the best fly ball to home run ratio of all time, Major League history. Dallas Brady.
What?
Yep, that's true.
There's no way that can be true.
That's real.
There's no way that that's true. I've seen it. I mean, I'm
sure all of Texas, the highest are Coliseum players.
Yeah. I've seen Texas, Dallas. Did you delete the account, Tex?
I think so. Maybe. I'll have to go. Maybe I'll log into my laptop and see if I still got it. But yeah, I still, every now and then I'll think about that Ty Wigginton bomb into the upper deck at the Coliseum. You know how hard it is to hit a ball into the upper deck at the Coliseum?
So hard.
I fucking gave you that as the first fucking video to go look for. I gave you that.
Bullshit.
You couldn't even roll your fucking shit kicking sleeves up and find the old fucking video. What's the matter? You ain't got no Wi-Fi out there in Texar, wherever the fuck you're at? Huh?
Bandera?
You can't tie two fucking crickety fucking oil cans together and get somebody with a fucking retainer to stand on your roof and get a fucking signal? You can't figure that out? I had to do it for you.
All right. Listen up, princess. I used to work at MLB, and when I made that account, I reached out to my old job. Be like, hey, can you give me a bunch of Dallas Braden videos? And they're like, yeah, sure. It's not hard to find. And they sent them to me, and that's how it started.
Yeah, because they're like, hey, Tex, there's this thing called the fucking internet. You should check it out. You could probably throw in his name on this thing called Google, and from there we'll probably, land a video or two.
Anyways, about the Astros bullpen.
Yeah.
That was such a big fucking move, man. And Hader, I know people are like saying the 5 years might be too long, but listen, what makes Josh Hader good is his delivery, I think. It's his deceptive delivery. He's got good stuff too, but that stuff doesn't like wear down with age. Like, I mean, look at the Rangers GM, Chris Young. He didn't have elite stuff, but I mean, any baseball fan can see his delivery right now and see how people have a hard time picking it up. And that's why Hader's so good. And I actually got a tidbit about him.
Oh, what is it?
So when I was watching him in AA in Corpus Christi, there was this intern at the Corpus Christi Hooks. I forget her name, but she was blast furnace hot. And I think they met there. I think they got married, and they're still married today.
So you just called your new relief pitcher's wife hot. That's what you just did?
Is that a crime?
No, I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know that, like, because I know that you have a relationship with them Stros. I remember, didn't they gave you one of the replica rings after they won the fraudulent one in 17?
Yeah, they gave me a replica ring, but they also gave it like 20,000 fans who entered early. So
yeah, but I mean, they went out of their way.
And
like,
I had a relationship with the old regime. I don't have a relationship with the Astros now.
Yeah,
but I still pay for tickets and shit.
The Astros follow me on Twitter because of that day.
Oh really? Oh, because of what day?
When they came into the office and they like, what did they? Did
they show you?
Yeah.
You know the guy that, like, two of the guys that came there. One of the guy was like, he like created the whole sign stealing system. His name was Derek.
The dude that created the, what was it called?
Codebreaker or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I remember his official title was like traveling secretary, and then I was reading like when it all came out, and it was like Derek Bigoa like came up with it, and I was like, wait, the guy with the glasses that was in our office.
So I met Codebreaker guy.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and Brandon Taubman too. He was there too. He was the guy that got fired.
Fired for saying, "Thank God we signed Ozuna."
Yeah,
that guy.
What he's up to.
I don't know. I think I forget. I think he's like an advisor somewhere. Maybe, I don't know. Wow, I didn't even realize that's who those guys were.
Yeah. No. Well, I didn't know it until it all came out later. You know.
Well, you have an attention to detail that I think wasn't exactly appreciated.
When it comes to baseball, I do.
Like who was it? Like Jet Bandy came into the office one day and you like knew him because you saw him in like AA like 5 years ago.
I don't think it was longer than that. I saw him in Arkansas, but I told him like straight up, I'm surprised you made it because you weren't very good. And which I like to think I wouldn't be that like that now. But I don't know, man. Shit just kind of runs off the cuff, and I just say it. It's still giving me problems.
Yeah. Well,
but whatever.
All right, Tex. Any final thoughts on your Houston Astros or the state of baseball in general?
State of baseball is in good hands.
Mm-hmm.
The Astros, I think we're going to start off slow. That lineup it's not Murderer's Row anymore. And Alex Bregman, he's going to hit like 200 in April like he does every year. So I think we're going to start off slow, but we're going to finish out hot. And, if we get, as long as we get into the playoffs, I kind of hope we're underdogs in the playoffs. I hope we kind of.
That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. You just spent $95 million on a relief pitcher. Like you're never going to be considered an underdog. And you've been to the ALCS for 7 straight years. Like what the fuck? That's like the Patriots talking themselves into being the underdogs. At times they thought like they probably thought that they were underdogs. Like when the league was against them and all that. Like there are comps there, but from the outside, no one's going to see you as underdogs.
No, like let's say we're like 86 and like 70 something. We squeak into the wild card, and then everyone's like, "Oh, the Astros, they suck this year." I think that's exactly what this team needs. Like. They need to be the underdog again. And,
it just won't happen that way. Even if the Astros make the playoffs with 86 wins, the national perspective will be they're still the Astros. Like no one's going to sleep on the Astros, I don't think.
Well, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So I don't know how you got a podcast. Fucking asshole. Dallas, suck my dick. You're a little bitch. I think I am gonna try to go to Oakland this summer.
Okay.
And if you fight, you know what? No. Text. If for whatever reason you're struggling to get out here, by all means, reach out. I would love to help you out, my friend. I would love to help you out. I'm gonna meet you.
I'd love to help you out with a fucking ass whip if you've never gotten one before.
I'm gonna have my buddies pick you up at the BART ramp. All right.
What the what?
Just make sure to shampoo that hair. I'm gonna want something nice to wipe my feet on.
My hair is immaculate. Just, I almost said something that the old me would have said. But it was basically about how if your wife saw my hair, something like that, like you'd be divorced. Which you kind of got that look going on. You are kind of look divorced.
You look divorced.
So, hey, sorry again. My bad.
Hey, no problem. Glad we could clear things up.
Yeah.
And the other guy on the podcast, I forget his name.
Joey.
Joey. Anyways.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
All right, Tex.
All right.
It's been real.
Peace.
All right, suck my dick.
Yeah.
Buddy. Yep. Fuck your sister.
Fuck you.
Yep. Okay. That's Tex. Love talking ball with Tex. Anytime. Anytime you can talk ball with Tex, you got to do it.
Or I could go try to fucking untie barbed wire. I could do that too.
All right. Let's do there's no other baseball stories, right? Those are the two big ones.
I was gonna, you know what? I'll save it for final thoughts.
Okay. What does that have to do with?
Well, what about Blake Snell apparently getting one offer so far?
I don't believe that. I mean, maybe
it was a shit offer too, right? What, 156 years?
Something like that. I don't know. I don't believe that he has an offer from only one team, that team being the Yankees. I find that really hard to believe.
Well, who reported that?
Mark Feinsand.
I saw it on Instagram, so.
Mark Feinsand. You looking into the validity of it?
I'm trying to find who the fuck is Mark Feinsand. What's his problem?
MLB.com.
Oh, collusion.
You think he's an industry plant too?
It's a players union. Or opposite. It's the owners.
Yeah, it could be. Okay. Jay, hey!
What up, baby?
The 1972 MVP race. As we all know, we all love it. We all remember 1972. It's time to take a trip down memory lane as Jay Hay holds our hand and decides, are we knocking on doors or are we telling those rightful winners, hey, congratulations, you get to keep your MVP trophy?
So I'm super excited about this one, even though this predates my birth by 13 years. I think the intricacies of both of these MVP votes are going to be an interesting subject for this segment. So let's start in the AL. First and foremost, rest in peace to the winner, Dick Allen. He was the 1972 AL MVP. Side note, I mean, one of the best remaining pet candidacies, so to speak, for the Baseball Hall of Fame, also for people who have been overlooked and underappreciated throughout Major League Baseball history. Dick Allen right at the forefront of that list. But this was 1972, and he won the MVP. And according to the votes, it wasn't even particularly close. He got 21 of 24 first place votes that season, so ran away with the MVP. In this season, he led the AL in home runs with 37, RBI with 113, walks with 99, and slugging at 603. He led Major League Baseball in on-base percentage at 420 and OPS at 1.023. So a legitimately outstanding offensive season from Dick Allen. He finished third among vote getters in wins above replacement at 8.6 and first among position players. So this is an instance where it really boils down to Dick Allen or pitchers, in my opinion, because he was pretty definitively the best offensive player in the game that season. And I want to put that into context too, because 37 homers, an OPS just north of 1,000, that sounds really good. It doesn't necessarily in the present day ring as an MVP caliber season, but I want to tell you a little bit more why it was. And as usual, it's about offensive context. So this was the first season at the time in White Sox history to have a 300 batting average, 400 on base, and 600 slugging percentage season. And the only White Sox player to do it since is 5 or 6 seasons by Frank Thomas. So this is a legendary season within the White Sox organization. It is the second best season in White Sox history by adjusted OPS. His adjusted OPS was 199, which is not a far cry from some of the stuff that Aaron Judge was doing a couple of seasons ago.
Damn.
It is the next, it's the second best season in White Sox history. As I said, the only one better is Frank Thomas's 1994, where he also won MVP for that season. And probably more important as it relates to the 1972 MVP, and the reason why, I'll fast forward to the result, I am not going to posthumously knock on Dick Allen's door and take his MVP away, even though strictly by wins above replacement, there were 2 pitchers who were quote unquote better. I think we need to look beyond WAR in this circumstance, which we have done multiple times on this segment.
A lot of black ink.
A lot of black ink for Dick in this season. And if you look at adjusted OPS and you look at the top 10 hitters in baseball that season, Dick Allen was by far the best offensive player in baseball. His adjusted OPS was 199. The next closest player, AL or NL, was Billy Williams at 172. Okay, so there was no one in his class offensively. And conversely, there were people in that class on the pitching side to kind of chip away from each other's votes. And the 2 main competitors statistically for the award, now in reality, the order of finish was Dick Allen, Joe Rudy, Sparky Lyle, and Carlton Fisk. None of those people after him really had terribly compelling cases. Gaylord Perry for Cleveland and Wilbur Wood for the White Sox, along with Dick Allen, were the 2 best options from the pitching side. A rundown of their stats. Gaylord Perry had 11 wins above replacement. Wilbur Wood had 10.3. Both of them had 24 wins. Gaylord Perry had a 1.92 ERA. Wilbur Wood 2.59. They both had north of 340 innings pitched. In fact, Wilbur Wood had 376 and two-thirds innings pitched. Yeah. So they finished first and second in the Cy Young. So they were recognized for their pitching contributions. But to me, it would be very difficult to distinguish between these 2 pitchers for who had the better season. Obviously, if you want to reward team success, you would be honoring Wilbur Wood, but Gaylord Perry. Yeah, but Gaylord Perry was the Cy Young winner, so it wasn't even considered at the time that Wilbur Wood's contributions were more valuable necessarily. A few other tidbits that I do want to point out about that provide some context on this award, and one of the reasons why I'm sticking with Dick Allen. White Sox franchise trajectory is important here because they won 87 games and finished second in the AL West that season. That sounds nice, right? 2 seasons prior, and this is Dick Allen's first season with the White Sox. He came over in the offseason in a trade that involved Tommy John, the pitcher.
Wow.
And immediately upon arrival, Dick Allen became the highest paid player in White Sox history at the time. It was a high wattage, ballyhooed, expensive for that matter trade. And it comes with the wrinkle that Dick Allen at the time was sort of like one of these deals where it's like Dick Allen's uber talented, but do we want to deal with his prickly personality, off-field, not a good teammate type of stuff? That's the reputation he developed. I obviously wasn't in the clubhouse. I'm not going to speak to what the reality of Dick Allen, but that was the reputation that he carried at the time. And the White Sox manager, a guy named Chuck Tanner, was somebody who had known Dick Allen and his family since Dick Allen was a young kid. And Chuck Tanner essentially vouched for Dick Allen and said, this is a guy we want. This is going to make our team better. And I'm going to be the guy who brings out the best in him. And guess what? That's exactly what happened. And he came over and produced arguably the best season of his career for a team that had set the franchise record for losses. The White Sox won 56 games in 1970. And by 1972, led by Dick Allen, they had won 87 games and completed an epic turnaround. So I'm sticking with Dick Allen as the best offensive player because to me, it's impossible to distinguish between Gaylord Perry and Wilbur Wood. And I think given those elevated wins above replacement numbers they seem great and they are great, but we also have to remember that wins above replacement is a cumulative counting stat. So the more innings you pitch, the higher your number is going to be as long as you're effective. And I'm not taking away from the like throwing 376 innings matters. Like you're basically doing the work of two pitchers, but that's also part of why their wins above replacement is so high because they were almost doing the work of two pitchers. And that seems counterintuitive to punish them for that, but it's not like a 10 WAR season in 2023 where the guy's throwing 180 innings or whatever it might be. So if somebody wanted to split the hairs between Perry and Wood, good luck to you. I'm going to take Dick Allen, who my research confirmed was in an offensive class all his own. And if you like the subjective stuff like team success and narrative, he certainly fits there. One final nugget before I turn it over for reactions. Gaylord Perry, just kind of a statistical quirk, won 24 games in 1972 and got a save. Who is the last pitcher to win 20 plus games and get a save in the same season? Anybody want to take a stab? I know it's an unfair question.
Derek Lowe.
It's a great guess. Great guess. Neither of those is correct.
For sale.
The answer is the Bulldog. Oral Hershiser in 1988 is the last person to win 20 plus games and get at least one save in the same season. So Gaylord had a very unique season, but I'm sticking with Dick Allen. Anybody, Dallas, you going to push back in favor of the pitchers?
No, the only argument I would have there, Jay, and
You're unplugged.
Yikes.
Is what was going to be my argument, but I knew this about Dick as well, about where he stood offensively compared to everybody else. There really wasn't anybody even in the conversation. So the sparsing between Gaylord and Wilbur, Willie Wood started almost 50 games, 49 games, 376 and 2/3 innings.
49 games.
Started 49 games, right? That's ridiculous. But to your point about the compiler aspect of the WAR and the innings pitched, and I will always just remind people that the reason that they were doing the work of two pitchers is because they were good enough to do that work, and there was nobody else that was better than them at that. And that's how we judge everything we do, is how good are you compared to your counterparts and your contemporaries. And if you're doing things quite literally twice as much and twice as good as everybody else, then you're going to get the tip of the cap from me on that. And the dominance was there as well. 376 innings, 325 punch-outs compared to Gaylord's 342 and 2/3 innings, where he only hit the 193 strikeouts. Gaylord had 234. I was looking at the hits. So, Willie was going to be the one.
So just a shout out to Wilbur Wood too, before we turn the page, because his career is very interesting if anybody's inclined to go back and look, because he was an oft-injured, oft-traveled player for the first part of his career before he landed in Chicago. And then he was a closer, a game finisher. He threw 88 games in 1968, over 159 innings. And then in 1971, they just decided they were going to fucking unleash this dude as a starting pitcher. And from 71 to 75, he averaged 336 innings pitched per season. And a crisp 45 games started over a 5-year span. So per season, by the way. He routinely led the league in games started, and innings pitched, and runs allowed, and hits allowed, and batters faced. So he was just like there was a half-decade run with the White Sox where nobody was providing the quantity that Wilbur Wood was. And I do think he's lost in the shuffle historically because he's not a Hall of Famer. He never won an MVP. He never won a Cy Young. And he only made 3 All-Star games. So just shout out to Wilbur, but I'm sticking with Dick Allen. In 1972, this is interesting over on the NL side, because what you have here is essentially the face of the big red machine offensively, and a legendary, all due respect to Perry and Wilbur Wood, a pitching season that was on a different level than either of those guys from Steve Carlton. So here's the question. Do you want the best position player from the best team in the league, or do you want the best pitcher who was also the best player, but who happened to pitch for a dog shit team? Because that's what ultimately cost, I think, Steve Carlton. The narrative here is that the Phillies were trash and the Reds were the big red machine. Like, this is squarely in the middle of the big red machine run. They hadn't won any World Series yet, but they'd started their run.
How many fucking starts did he make? Because if he goes 27-10, like, did he get a decision in every fucking start that he made?
Jared, 30 complete games. He finished 30 games. He started 41 games.
Steve Carlton, obviously.
Steve Carlton, yes. 346 and a third innings that year with a sub 2.
Mm-hmm. And so to the point about the dominance, like I said, like Wilbur Wood with his 100 and whatever 93 punch outs in the 376 or whatever the fuck it was, and then the Gaylord Perry 342, and he had how many punch outs? 234. So Gaylord almost showed dominance, but really not even when you're talking about a strikeout per inning. No. And now you go to Steve Carlton. That is stupid. 346 in a third and 310 strikeouts.
Guys, Steve Carlton won 46% of the Phillies games in 1972. Steve Carlton had 27 wins. The Phillies had 59 wins. Steve Carlton had 27. The rest of the team had 32 wins. That's it. So it's Johnny Bench who was the winner. Quick shout out to him because I want to get to Carlton. 11 of 24 first place votes. Teammate Joe Morgan was tied for second didn't finish tied for second in the voting, tied for second with first place votes with 5. Bench was third among vote getters and wins above replacement behind Steve Carlton and teammate Joe Morgan. He led Major League Baseball with 40 homers and 125 RBI. By the way, this is, of course, as a catcher. He led Major League Baseball in home runs and RBI. Think about if we got that out of a catcher in 2024. His slash line was 270, 379, 541, good for a 920 OPS. The Reds won the NL West by 10 full games. And just for those of you who don't have the big red machine memorized, for over a 7-year span from 1970 to 76, they played in 4 World Series, winning 2 of them, and they appeared in another NLCS. They would lose in the NLCS in 1972 this season. This was Johnny Bench's second MVP. He'd also won in 1970. And just to put context again, that adjusted OPS that he put up of 166 was the highest of Johnny Bench's career, both at the time and would remain the highest of his career. And it is the 5th best single season mark by a catcher in the last 100 years. So a legitimately awesome offensive season from Johnny Bench. It's also one of 3 seasons by a catcher ever to feature 40 homers and 125 or more RBI. Johnny Bench in 1970 and Roy Campanella in 1953 are the only other catchers to ever put up such a season. So what we have here, as I said, is the best player on the best team, or the best pitcher and the best player on the worst team. The reason why I am going to knock on Mr. Bench's door and remove his MVP is twofold. A, I don't believe that a pitcher's candidacy should be based on how good their teammates are. And that's, I've been pretty consistent on that throughout my fake voting record, but also because it's not clear to me that Johnny Bench was even better than Joe Morgan. And this is an opportunity to shout out Joe Morgan, who is like, he's in the Hall of Fame and everybody knows who he is, in part because of his run on ESPN and Sunday Night Baseball. And he himself won consecutive MVPs in 75 and 76. So to say that he's like criminally underrated is maybe not totally fair, but we're also talking about a guy who was only elected with like 82% of the vote in the Hall of Fame and is arguably like the greatest modern second baseman in baseball history.
The benchmark.
Yeah, and who was as important of a component of the big red machine as Johnny Bench ever was, for sure. And that's more to prop up Joe Morgan than it is to take away anything from Johnny Bench. So I can't tell between Morgan and Bench who was the more valuable player, but what I can tell is that Steve Carlton delivered arguably the greatest pitching season ever, if not one of the greatest pitching seasons ever. Quick rundown of his stats. 27 wins, for those of you who like. That led Major League Baseball. 197 ERA led the NL. 346 and a third innings pitched led the NL. 310 strikeouts led the NL, and his wins above replacement led Major League Baseball. By wins above replacement, it is the number 2 pitching season in the live ball era behind only Dwight Gooden's 1985 season. So the history of pitching since 1920, 100 plus years of baseball, this is, by some metrics, the second greatest pitching season anybody ever delivered. And he did it for a crap team too, by the way. So it's not like that he managed wins, whatever. That he managed to win 27 games on a team that only won 59 cannot really be overstated for how dominant you have to be able to do that. We all laugh at like Jacob deGrom's misfortune during that funny run that he had with the Mets, where it was like, this guy's like sub 500 in games where he allows 2 or fewer earned runs. That's basically what we're talking about with Steve Carlton, only he won those games.
And the difference, Jay Hay, is Steve Carlton is finishing baseball
100%.
games. That's the difference. And I'd be interested to find out how many of those wins came with him either losing or tied 7th inning or later. I don't know that it's going to be a huge number, but that factors into that. And I think that this season right here is just a great window in time and a window into the past. If you're wondering now why your uncle, why your grandfather, whoever was so hung up on wins and attaching those to starting pitching and why it meant so much, it's because of shit like this. This is why it was so valuable, is because you can have a guy go out there and play for a absolute atrocity of a team, and he can perform to the extent he did. And now you look at the wins and you go, well, damn, he must have been pretty damn good, because that team was terrible, and he himself was a part of 27 of their wins as a starting pitcher. He had to be doing something that some of these other folks around the league just aren't. And the answer is yes, he absolutely was. He was getting deep into ball games. He was finishing those ball games. And that's why the win attached to the starting pitcher in yesteryear meant what it meant. Because in a year where Steve Carlton and the rest of his team might not have even should have been allowed to play baseball with as bad as they were, Steve Carlton put together the best fucking season you will potentially ever see on a mound in a sanctioned baseball game.
So, I mean, Steve Carlton, for those who are like, is one of the greatest pitchers in baseball history and one of the greatest left-handed pitchers in baseball history. And this season began a decade-long run from 72 to 82, where his average season was 274 innings pitched with a 2.96 ERA and 226 strikeouts. He was a 4-time Cy Young winner over an 11-season span. This was his first Cy Young win. One final stat, because I know people could give or take wins above replacement, but what you can't give or take are innings pitched, strikeouts, and ERA. So this is one of 4 seasons in the live ball era with 300 plus strikeouts, 300 plus innings pitched, and a sub 2 ERA. The only other examples of that are Vida Blue in 1971 and 63-66 Koufax. That's it. So this is, by no matter how you look at the statistics, no matter what angle, whatever, this is a pristine pitching season where Steve Carlton also had to deal with almost every other factor working against him from a team perspective and was still able to cobble to this together. And that's why I'm going to give it to Steve Carlton, because I just think the man got a lot of accolades over his career and is obviously in the Hall of Fame. But this to me is the definition of an MVP caliber pitching season. And I don't think the seasons by Bench or Morgan were so great that we should be overlooking one of the greatest statistical pitching seasons of all time. So that's my 1972 hindsight.
That would be his first and only MVP, 4-time Cy Young Award winner, has a pitching triple crown, couple of rings, 10-time All-Star, but never won an MVP. And Jay Hay just went and handed him the 1972 Most Valuable Player Award. Wow. Congratulations to Steve Carlton. Sure, the Carlton family will be very excited about this. Would you like to know what year you're going to be looking into next week, Jay?
I'd love to.
Next week, Justin Havens will be examining the 1948 MVP race.
Oh, that's a special one in my heart, obviously, because that's the that's Cleveland's last World Series win. And it's a guy that we talked about on the Rushmore for Cleveland. Lou Boudreau was the MVP winner that year. I'm going to bend over backwards to make sure that he keeps that MVP. I'm just kidding. But we'll look at it and see whether that was the right call, obviously. And then over the NL, it's a guy who we've broken down a previous MVP by him, and we're going to do it again. And it's Stan the Man Musial.
Wow.
He was the NL winner. We'll see whether either of these should be taken away. My initial look.
Stan's keeping that.
Is that Stan is going to fucking keep this MVP.
Stan's keeping that. Stan's telling you nobody's home.
There might be some more nuance on the AL side. We'll see, but I think the man is going to stay the man. But 1948 will be next week.
Oh, beautiful. All right. Thank you, Jay Hay. But it is time, Dallas. It is time for the Oakland A's Mount Rushmore, in which it's the entire franchise, so it includes every stop along the way to Oakland, and obviously there's no Vegas representative, but when we redo it someday, then the Vegas A's will be included as part of the discussion. But for now,
well, that's if they move there.
Well, they're fucking moving there. They're gone. They're
I know you're not into legal paperwork and stuff and all that, the whole fact thing, but
are you trying to say that there's a chance that they don't go to Vegas?
That's a whole nother conversation.
Oh, that would be big news. You let me know so I can have the breaking news button queued up.
I'll let you know.
Okay. The Oakland A's Mount Rushmore. I think we can all agree that Ricky Henderson is number one.
Ooh, I don't know. Yes, of course, Ricky.
Okay. Joseph?
If you don't have Ricky, what are you doing?
I don't have Ricky.
Wow. I don't believe that.
Yeah. It's a psych.
That's a psych.
I'm sticking with Rick. You got to stick with Rick. Pickle Rick.
Yeah.
Pickle Rick.
Jay, hey, you have Ricky as number one?
Definitely.
Okay. Number two on the Oakland A's Mount Rushmore. Catfish Hunter. Does anyone else have Catfish Hunter as number two?
Yes. Well, not as number. Again,
I don't have two, but I have him on the list. Yeah.
Yeah, he's on my list. Yes.
Okay. Catfish Hunter, I believe, second highest WAR in A's history. Catfish Hunter spent a grand total of 10 years with the Oakland A's, in which he was 161 and 113 with a 3.13 ERA. Some all-stars here, but he won a Cy Young in his final year with the A's, which was in 1974.
If you're going to put some respect on the Catfish, then you need to do it properly, because he was the man who was the tip of the spear for the triplets.
three-time
72, 73, 74. And this is why I said, man, like I realized having this discussion in my head last night, how much bias is really involved, because like I remember, hanging out and talking with Vida, and he's talking about his experience with Catfish and learning to finish ball games. And, you know what Vida did. I mean, Vida was the fucking man when he showed up, and Vida was on that triplet squad as well. But who was the tip of the spear when it came to the staff? It was Catfish. And so, like, looking through this, because the A's, I mean, I don't want to commandeer this thing, but the A's have a ton of history, and they've got a ton of different eras. Like, you go to 1905, between 1905 and 1914, the Philadelphia Athletics, 5 World Series appearances, 3 wins in 10, 11, and 13. They lost in 14 in the World Series, and they lost in 1905 in the World Series as well. So we're talking about 5 appearances, 3 wins over the course of a decade. And then you've got what I refer to, that's when the double X starts to come along. 1929 to 1931, the A's, again, 3 World Series appearances. 2 of those were wins in 29 and 30. They lost in 31, so 3 straight World Series appearances again. And then you go to 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. Over that span, 3 World Series appearances, 3 wins in a row, 72, 73, 74. They lost the fucking ALCS in 71 and 75. So they were right there the first 5 years of the 70s. And then you fast forward to 88 to 92. They got their World Series, or 3 World Series appearances, 1 win in 89. Obviously, they lost the heartbreaker in 88. They lose in 90. So that's 3 different incredible runs for this organization. And I've talked about that because I talk about having eras represented. And so you've touched on now with an era, the 88s, if you will, and the eras in the 70s. So I'm interested to see where you go next.
Well, I think it's only appropriate if you commandeer and take over this. I mean, it's the A's. It's your thing.
Why don't you give us your 4 and then we'll react?
Well, what's so going to the very first era, if you will, that's where Eddie Collins' name comes up, right? He's been there for all of the World Series, but you look at what he did statistically and the number, like, great. He was around for a lot of big games and important games for the franchise. But when you look at Double X and you look at what Jimmy Fox did, it's unquestionable. Triple Crown winner, World Series winner in 29 and 30, 2-time MVP with the A's, 3-time MVP overall, won a batting title, 3-time All-Star for the A's, which, if you remember, the All-Star voting or All-Star acknowledgement began in 1933. So if you would have looked at the other seasons from 28 to 32 for Jimmy Fox, I'm sure the 171 home runs hit, the 335 batting average, the 445 walks against just 359 strikeouts, the OPS plus of 168, and the OPS north of 1,000. I'm sure that probably gets him the other All-Star nods as well. So Jimmy Fox.
Mike's unplugged.
Mike's unplugged.
Mike's unplugged.
It's unplugged.
He says, no, it's not, as everyone's telling him it is.
Hello?
It's plugged.
So Jimmy Fox, the double X, is undoubtedly on that Mount Rushmore for the green and gold.
So you have, right now, you've got Ricky, you've got Catfish, and you've got double X, right?
Correct.
Double X.
Okay. By the way, shout out to Jimmy Fox while we're on him. I think he gets lost in the shuffle in terms of like greatest first baseman in baseball history, but he's not number 1, but he definitely deserves like the sub Lou Gehrig tier probably over a 7-season span from 29 to 35. His average season was 41 homers, 139 RBI, and a 341, 444, 655 slash line. That's 1.099. So he basically averaged an 1,100 OPS over a 7-year span. And to your point, Dallas, like, you got to parse through a lot of old guys and era guys on the A's list because they've got such a rich history. But one of the things that I think is helpful is to look for the black ink, right? And
yes,
there's no question that Jimmy Fox was a world-class player in his era. So yeah, sorry, I just wanted to add that.
No, he's that dude. He is that fucking dude.
See, like, I considered Jimmy Fox, but like, he's also very prevalent in Red Sox history. Not that he would have made the Red Sox Mount Rushmore, but it's like,
and Jared, you know what's funny is I look at that and I said to myself, you know what? Is this a way that I can finagle? Can I get somebody else in here because, well, he chose to go into the hall with a B on his hat, right? So okay, all good. Maybe your best years, and statistically, you were a better player with the Athletics. But if what you're valuing and what you love is what happened in Boston, then by all means, you're a fucking Hall of Fame player. Pick your hat. But can that give me the opportunity to maybe take a guy off and plug him in? Because I thought about doing that just because of the bias that I got to battle.
But Jared's point's a good one. because it doesn't just apply to Jimmy Fox. And that was what was so hard about the non-Ricky. I mean, it applies to Ricky too, but not in the same way. That's what's so hard about the A's Rushmore is that even their core level players had significant chunks with other teams. That's true of Jimmy Fox. It's true of Eddie Collins. It's true
Reggie
of Catfish,
Jackson.
even though we all agree he should be on this. And it's true of the
Reggie.
other guy that I have that we haven't named yet. And
Canseco.
Well, so, and this is where, so I'll say this. The correct answer to round out the four is Reggie Jackson. That is the correct answer. That is the correct answer. You're talking about an MVP. You're talking about another part. You're talking about the straw that stirred the offensive drink in Oakland during that time. 72, 73, 74. Who's bopping right in the middle of that lineup? Reggie. Reggie's bopping right in the middle of that lineup.
I'm just going to come out and say it. I didn't have Reggie Jackson.
No,
I didn't either.
No.
And I know exactly where you're coming from, and I don't feel good about it. The portion of his career that occurred with other teams is to me like really, really difficult to get past is the wrong word. I also
so here was my thinking too, Jay Hay, is how do I keep this guy here when Mr. October came about completely separate from what we're experiencing? Right?
Like arguably the most famous nickname in the last 40 years of baseball, at least. Yeah.
Ever. So how do I keep that? And that's where I said to myself, that is the right answer. But it ain't my fucking answer, Jay. Hey, it ain't my fucking answer. It ain't my fucking answer. You want to know why?
Give me the lefty.
No.
Oh.
I couldn't.
I'm going to make you pay for that one then. I'm going to make you pay. That's fine.
I am
because,
too.
as I said, you both got him?
Yeah.
Maybe different lefty, but we'll find out.
No, you got the right lefty. Respect.
Oh, okay.
But here's
John
where
Lester?
I said, here's John Lester, one of the greatest days we've had. And this is where I said, you know what? My bias, 100%.
Yeah.
But
He's going
being
Dave Stewart.
But
Yeah.
being an Oakland A,
Yeah.
being an Oakland A means something. And when you are born in the city that you grow up and perform for, and not perform for, this motherfucker won four straight years of 20-plus ball games. World Series MVP. And in the middle of kicking the shit out of the San Francisco Giants, and Mother Nature had different plans with the earthquake that shook California, you want to know where Dave Stewart and the boys were? In fucking uniform? Dragging people out. Helping. Doing everything they fucking could in that community with nothing else on their mind aside from being a member of the community and understanding that the uniform they're wearing and who they represent, their neighborhoods, their cultures, their fans, their family, all of that put aside just to go and be the heroes that they really are. And Dave Stewart was at the forefront of that. There's a reason that we have a community service award named after that man. There's a reason that we have the Catfish Hunter Award still in our organization, is because these were individuals who were pillars in their community and would absolutely run towards the fire. And so for me, Dave Stewart is that fucking dude. Top 5 Cy Young finishes, 3, 4, 5 years in a row? I mean, the guy was just fucking dominant. Give me Stu.
So, Jared, do we have the same guy?
Yeah, Vita Blue. Yeah.
Really?
Here's a caveat.
Oh, I have a different lefty then. So
here's a caveat. We were just in fantasy camp this year, and Stu, I've been doing fantasy camp with Stu for fucking ever. And Stu, before we even sat down, said, I just want to make this suggestion. And he said, it's not really a suggestion. I'm just kind of telling you that this is what we're going to do. We're changing the Cy Young Award for our fantasy camp, and we're naming it the Vita Blue Award. And we just said, yep, standard. Absolutely. Yes, sir, Stu. Great fucking call. Yeah. So And just again to kind of tie it all together, Vida, Reggie, Stu, Reggie Jackson was picking up these guys in his car, in his fucking convertible and shit, while they're driving around the ballpark or while they're in the neighborhood, and he's taking these kids to the ball game. He's taking these kids to the ballpark. And who are these kids? Dave Stewart, Vida Blue, Ricky Henderson.
See, this kind of stuff's hard to compete with, you know, because as far as I know, my guy wasn't performing any acts of heroism that I can add to the story. You know, he wasn't raising the next generation of A's ball players, you know, by driving them around in cars and stuff like that. It's tough. This is tough to compete with.
My guy saved like 7 people and shot someone.
And shot someone.
And then he got them. So that's weird.
Yeah. Honorable
there's
mention.
There's a lot of people who save people. That's what I'm saying. And there's a lot of fucking heroes on the A's. You didn't pick one A's player who saved someone's life.
Who's your lefty, Jay? Hey?
Lefty Grove.
Lefty.
And like, I get it. Like old timey guy. I think an exception needs to be made when you are literally the best pitcher in your generation and in the game, and it's not even close. Like, and again, Lefty Grove is a guy who is complicated in the Jimmy Fox corollary because he would go on to have excellent seasons with Boston as well. But I just like Lefty Grove was the best pitcher in baseball when he was with the Athletics. He wasn't one of the best pitchers. He wasn't the best pitcher in the AL. He was the best pitcher. And I get it. This stuff gets lost in history. Go back and look at his page. It's all black ink. It's all league leader in strikeouts. It's all league leader in ERA. He won an MVP as a fucking pitcher with the Athletics. The Cy Young didn't exist. And just for context, from 1928 to 1933, which was right up through his last season with the Athletics before he went to Boston. So I'm only looking at his A's career. From that stretch, 6 seasons, he was first in innings pitched in Major League Baseball. He was first in strikeouts, and he was first in wins above replacement. And here's the degree to which he was first. He had 1,039 strikeouts. The next closest player in baseball had 819. He had 220 strikeouts more than the number 2 person over that span. Wins above replacement, he had 53.1. The next closest pitcher was 30.8. He was basically as good as the second and third best pitchers in baseball combined. That's how good Lefty Grove was. So I respect the nuance that goes into some of these selections and the cultural impact, and Vida Blue absolutely fits into that category as well. But if I'm going to honor Catfish, and maybe I should go back and reconsider Catfish because he's the number 4 for me, but I have to make room for one of the greatest single pitchers in baseball history and definitely the best pitcher of his era.
I'm pretty sure last week when we said we were doing the A's Mount Rushmore, I'm pretty sure I threw out Lefty Grove's name and just his name alone and then didn't end up putting him on my Mount Rushmore. I'm not saying he's not worthy, but like, he's
unquestionably worthy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I just said, like, again, trying to represent eras and figure out a way to do that. I knew I was going to be going with Catfish, and I knew I was going to be going with Stu. So there was just no way I was going to be able to trot out a lefty as well and then give you Ricky. It's like, I'm going to give you 3 arms and Ricky.
Yeah. So, I mean, I went with Vida to represent that era again, obviously, because I have 2 representing the 70s. And then my 4th came down to 2 guys. It was hard to pick my 4. What?
Are you going to give the Moneyball era some love?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not. Oh, no, I'm not.
you may have just talked me out of it.
Is this the day of JJ?
JJ Bleday is my number 4. JJ,
the possums.
I mean, you can argue he had more impact on the 2023 Baseball is Dead podcast than any other Oakland A.
It's probably true. That's
not a great
true.
case next to Lefty Grove.
The reason why number 4 was so difficult was for the reason that Jay described earlier, was that there's just so many candidates where it's like, yes, very impactful, very notable Oakland A's player. But
he won Rookie of the Year. He's a
JJ
Rookie of the Year.
Bleday?
No, the guy that you're about to say,
Andrew
He hit the
Bailey?
homer. No, so he hit the homers with St. Louis.
Andrew Bailey was the Rookie of the Year with the A's. Am I wrong?
He hit the homers in the green and gold too. Yeah, yes, he did. Andrew Bailey did.
Yeah,
win the
2012.
Rookie
Yep. I think I'm making the decision right now, like, because I have 5 names. I have 5 names written down, so I'm making the decision right now. I'm gonna go with Dennis Eckersley for my number 4 to be a representative of the '80s teams.
Can't wait till we get to that. Can't wait till we get to Cy Young hindsight and we get to have fun with that one.
Well, Eck, I believe, is he wearing an A's hat in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So when not my criteria, but what I start to do for research for the Mount Rushmores is I will look up who is wearing that team's hat in the Hall of Fame. That's where I go first. Then I go to all-time statistics. Then I'll compare and contrast other Mount Rushmores that are already out there. So yeah, Dennis Eckersley, I mean, like, he recorded the final out of one of those World Series there. Like, yeah, yes.
Didn't that motherfucker give up the game-winning home run in one of those World Series too?
We lost the series in '88 because of that, Jay. I wasn't going to bring that up.
Game 1?
I thought I remember that.
Wasn't that game 1?
What?
That wasn't the clincher.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I meant I did not mean the clinching home run.
Yes.
Yeah. Was that game 1?
Game 1? I thought that was like game 3. It might have been game 1.
I don't know. Either way, it's the same thing when they blame Bill Buckner and they're like, "Oh, Bill Buckner blew the World Series." No. They still had a game 7 to play.
The glove. You blame Bill Buckner's glove.
Yeah, it was game 1.
Yeah, and then it was game 1. So don't blame Dennis Eckersley. You had a whole series left after that.
They all count the same, technically.
They do all count the same, unless it's a series clinching home run, which it was not. One game. Don't blame Eck for that. I'm going.
Can I deliver a hot take on 2 guys we brought up?
Sure.
I think Reggie Jackson and Dennis Eckersley are on the Mount Rushmore of most overrated baseball players in history.
Thank you.
Wow.
People think because of Mr. October, people think Reggie Jackson is like one of the greatest offensive threats in baseball history, and he is just fucking not. He's yeah. He's got 500 homers. So does Rafael Palmeiro. And
he has 3,000 hits.
Reggie Jackson is a Hall of Famer. I'm not like trying to say he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Reggie Jackson is like not even close to one of the greatest offensive threats to play in the last half century. Wow. And I just feel like people view him that way, maybe because his game was so modern in a sense, because it featured home runs and strikeouts in a way that really didn't exist when he came into the game.
Mm-hmm.
And Dennis Eckersley, obviously, that's like maybe the biggest garbage MVP in history. And you could debate whether that Dennis Eckersley, every time I pull up that guy's Baseball Reference page, I'm shocked at how much time he spent being not good.
Wow.
Damn. I got another one who shouldn't be on the list, who's on some of your lists, is Catfish Hunter. Because this fucking trader, like, to be the first free agent ever and like stick up for the players, like, listen, I get your bag, selfish. That's really bad for ownership, and that's really been bad for the A's ever since then.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of true.
And they're the small market team, and to stab the team in the back like that, that's anti-A's for me. For me, that's anti-Ace.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I just
can't even entertain the level of ignorance. I can't.
No.
All right.
I mean, what part of that was untrue?
Exactly. You're off my Rushmore then.
Oh, that was, by the way, my 4th was deciding between Dallas and Eck.
Well, I feel like you made the right decision.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we're going to talk about guys that bleed green and gold, I mean, you're the representative of the Oakland A's in the worst time in team history to be the Oakland A's representative. Like 100%. You are eating bullet after bullet after bullet for this organization. Local hero. Shout out Stockton, the 209.
Yeah, what you sent a tweet out the other day, Jared, about people bitching at you because you're not going to relinquish your
season tickets.
Tickets. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to tweet this to you, but I was like, I just don't even. Now, could you imagine growing up and playing for that team? Mm-hmm. And then could you imagine having, a cool memory that you could share with those fans? Mm-hmm. And then could you imagine growing up even older and being the broadcaster for that team? Mm-hmm. So like you were a fan, then you were a player, now you're a broadcaster. And then could you imagine everything that's going wrong being your fault because you are the former player who was the fan who's now the broadcaster? So clearly this is all of your doing. Mm-hmm. So you're the asshole. Like, why can't you fucking starve your family out and tell your boss everything? Like, why can't you do all of those things? Because I would love it, and the fucking Al next to me on the couch would love it, and we'd high five each other and then probably watch Simpsons and forget about it. But you should do that right now, man. You don't have a fucking hair on your ass.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's misleading because it's not your fault. It is Cashfish Hunter's fault that the A's are moving to Vegas, and it's all stems from then.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, honestly.
That's why Mr. Charlie Finley had to sell the team. And that's why that guy is on my Mount Rushmore. The owner for the A's in the 70s.
You know what's crazy is that there was no Connie. Well, Joe, did we have your fourth?
That was one of my guys. I don't remember. All I think I have is Ricky Henderson, but I picked Charlie Finley. He owned the A's when they won 3 World Series.
Okay, so you got Ricky. You got Ricky, you got Charlie.
Did you stop reading about Charlie Finley after they won the World Series? You should keep reading.
Who gives a fuck? Because he sold the team, and then after that, who gives a shit what happened? Because he wasn't an A anymore.
What did he do?
He only sold the team because of selfish players like Catfish Hunter.
What did he do, Jay? Hey, I don't know about this.
Yeah, what did he do? Because I don't know. What was he do so bad?
What did he do that was so bad?
Yeah, I mean, he had Hot Pants Day promotion that allowed women to get in the game for free if they wore skinny jeans, and they went on the field and did like basically a wet t-shirt contest. And they gave out free cameras so the guys could take pictures of the girls in jeans, and the girls got in for free.
What year was this?
This is the 70s, bro.
So, Jesus Christ, can't do that.
No, you can. That's what I'm saying. It's a good thing. It got people in the seats.
Jay, hey, what did he do?
I mean, this is a much more extensive conversation than we probably want to get into, but and maybe Dallas can help guide or something like that whenever we do. But like this entire idea of the A's being like unstable or like not spending, or stuff like there was a seed of that was planted with Charlie Finley and the way that the end of his tenure happened with Oakland, and that I think kind of laid the foundation for what we're seeing right now.
So you're saying a guy who offered his own players $300 each just to grow a mustache was anti-player and poor?
Not so much. Well, it's complicated because they brought a lot of talented players into the organization. It was just that there were off-field financial stuffs involving the Finleys, to my understanding, that impacted the ability to run and continue with the club. So I think, I don't think he belongs on it.
He tried to sell off everybody, and baseball was like, sorry, dude, you can't do that.
I think
he created a zoo in the outfield and hired a shepherd to tend live sheep during games.
I think that's great. That feels like a Bill Veeck knockoff, though, if I'm being honest.
I'm pretty well, never mind. I was going to say he was before Bill Veeck. I don't have that in writing, but I'm sure they were friends, and they may have been friends. I have no idea. Everyone likes Bill Veeck, and we can't like Charlie Finley. He made a mule to be the team mascot. They had a mechanical rabbit come out of the field. I don't know. He's cool. They had bald day. They let people in for free if they were bald.
Tried to invent his own baseball.
Where would they fall on Dallas? It's like a gray area.
Well, they banned Dallas from getting a haircut or something. But I mean, with Finley was was still running the show, Dow could wear whatever haircut he wanted and get $300 for free just because he has facial hair.
That was kind of Yankee behavior, Dallas, that they were trying to tell you what to do with your hair.
Hey, well, you know what? There's probably a reason that I'm still there and he ain't.
And also, Charlie Finley hired MC Hammer when he was 12 years old to be the assistant, Bad Boy and the fucking vice president of the team.
Yep,
he was the general manager, I believe, or vice president.
You know who you could also you could put on your A's Mount Rushmore? Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks used to sell peanuts at the Coliseum. Yeah, I am surprised that there was no Connie Mack thrown out there.
Yeah,
some say Connie Mack is a loser. Sub 500 career record, by the way.
Yes, Jay. How about this? I was looking at that, and you mean to? This is just so Oakland for us right now. This is just so on brand. The winningest manager in baseball history is on the Oakland A's, and guess what? He's got a losing record. And the Oakland A's, 100+ years storied franchise, or the Athletics, I should say, also carrying a losing record as a franchise. Not great.
I saw that video from the stands a couple summers ago. They're still selling penis in the stands, it sounds like.
Yeah, you better hurry because that deal's getting gobbled up.
That was the consideration too. I mean, you might want to chuck those two for your final two in the Rushmore. That's been the most relevant thing in.
You know what, Joe?
PDA couple.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna throw this out there, Joseph. You let me know if you're interested or not, and we can workshop it if you're not. But I think that the way that your brain works, I would love if you had a segment similar to how Jay Hay has the MVP segment, where you just had like a random baseball story. There's so much. I've always, because I said like the cutting room floor of your videos is more or less what I'm asking for, but so many random baseball factoids or stories that it would just be nice to hear, because I get excited when you do those. Would you do that for a weekly segment?
Yeah, I think I already did. You just stopped asking me during the podcast, but sure.
No, that's not true.
I think that's how it fucking worked.
That's not true.
Let's do the cutting room floor, and then one day you just wasn't
that
asking for the cutting room floor?
Weren't
and then
there 3 straight weeks where it was that dude getting hit by pitches was the cutting room floor, and then
that was
stopped?
A different segment that people stopped.
It was like I did like a stat.
This is the third segment.
We're gonna get one of these
is gonna stick. One of these is gonna stick.
I love this.
When did we ever do a cutting room floor?
Long time ago.
It was like every Thursday. Every Thursday, tell us a story. All right, I'll get a story. I got thousands of Google Docs worth of fucking stories. So you asked me, I'll give you one.
All right, next week. Next week, we're gonna do story time with Joe.
Well, I think I picked 2 fucking people for this Mount Rushmore. My next one was going to be Rube Waddell, which is like the definition of that shit. And
yes, Joe, that's a great pick. Rube Waddell. This guy, if you don't know anything about Rube Waddell, please, like, I did a book report on Rube Waddell. This fucking guy.
When?
For way, way back, Joe, like in high school, actually. Yeah, like just the guy would just, in the middle of a game, be like, you know what? I'm out. We're good here. I know it's like the top of the third, but I think I'm done. And I'm gonna go to the bar. Or I don't know, I'm just gonna take off. I'll be gone for 2 weeks. I don't know. I have no idea. Like the guy would fucking walk up into the stands, have beers, start talking to people, like just everything but play baseball.
Well, he left the game once to go fishing. He was like, his problem was he liked fire trucks. That's the story. Yeah. And that the fire truck would pass the stadium, and every time that happened,
running.
He'd take it. He had to chase the fire truck. It was unfortunate because he was obviously mentally handicapped to the max. And that was probably part of his issue. Sometimes leaving the field, like people apparently would bring puppies and shiny objects to the stadium while he was pitching. It was distracting. It would try to fuck him up. So it's like everyone's trying to get in this guy's head. It was tough for him to do it, to pitch, but he fucking pitched really well. He led the league in strikeouts.
Former Pirate.
Only 6 years in a row. He also was in a melodrama, which, if you guys don't know, is a type of play. He got bit by an alligator once because he was in the circus in the off season.
Oh, well, that's what he did in the off season, Joe, is he wrestled alligators in the traveling circus.
Got bitten by a lion. Accidentally shot a friend through the hand. Okay. And allegedly he married 2 ladies at once. That's alleged. We don't have proof of that.
Give it a Lesty. Give it a Lesty.
What year are we talking about here? Like what era?
We're talking early 1900s.
Yeah. Okay.
They say he might have suffered from ADD.
That feels like something that wouldn't make you join the circus.
I mean, if he's chasing after fire trucks like a dog, I think he was suffering from more than ADD.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
He sounds a little schizophrenic if we're being honest.
He's also, his baseball reference page looks like a painting instead of a photo.
Yeah, it looks like AI, but he has the Hall of Famer. He won the Triple Crown. He won the Triple Crown, 2 ERA titles. Yeah. I mean, the guy led the league in strikeouts 6 years in a row while all this was going down. Alcoholic to the maximum. Like we already covered, he had ADD. He passed out in the middle of the game one time. That's what led to he passed out in the middle of a game in 1909. So then they released him from the team after that. However, he did play for, I guess, a different team or a minor league team, independent team. I don't know. And saved the city of Hickman, Kentucky from a devastating flood.
There you go. There's your hero.
In 1912. Then caught pneumonia and died later that year after saving Hickman, Kentucky from the flood.
I thought you were joking when you said that your guy saved people and shot somebody, but you were telling the truth.
Yes. Well, I knew exactly who it was as soon as he said that.
I don't see how you don't pick him. All the lore.
I don't see how you don't pick him.
Like literally the lore behind this guy.
That's what I want to do. Is I want to do a Mount Rushmore like of just not good baseball players. Like he can't use the stars. Dude. I know he was good, but he can't use a star. He's not star good. He's not making the Mount Rushmore over any of these other people.
Why does he have more war than a lot of these other fucking people?
Well, I'm
looking at analytics now.
He was fighting a war, all right.
Did you say he won the Triple Crown?
He won the Triple Crown, bruh. 2 ERA titles.
Hard to suck and do that, I would say.
Yeah.
To this day, because the final Mount Rushmore is next week, it's the Boston Red Sox. Statistically speaking, I believe Carl Yastrzemski's 1967 season, where he won the Triple Crown, is the highest wins above replacement for a Red Sox player in team history. Mookie Betts 2018 is number 2.
Mookie Betts. Oh, dude. Here's my final thought.
Oh yeah, you just played bowling with Mookie?
Yeah, I was bowling. Took the family like out here in Simi Valley. We've got 2 bowling alleys. And we're like, which one? Let's just go to the one close to the house. So we walk in, they got the league going on down towards the end. And we're starting hearing like the matchups, right? And they're like, all right, and at the beginning of match play, it's gonna be, fucking Henry Wheelingham, and lane 2, it's going to be Mookie Betts. Lane 4, it's going to be Al. And I was like, you just say fucking Mookie Betts? Like, I was wondering if that was like an alias. And then I'm standing up to bowl, and I look over, and fucking 3 lanes down, Mookie's standing right there, getting ready to bowl.
Marcus
He should have an alias like Bumgardner.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, shout out Mookie. He did not win.
He didn't?
No.
What superhero did he go up against?
This dude, he was probably 5'7". He had a gross ponytail. His hair looked much like mine. Receding hairline, ponytail, not good. He was severely out of shape and was just fucking rolling 3 hundos.
Damn, dude.
Who do you think you are?
I am.
Jay, hey, final thoughts?
Reggie Jackson's career adjusted OPS is the same as, it's slightly less than Vladimir Guerrero's. So I know we all think Vlad's a great player. I don't think anybody puts him in the same conversation as Reggie Jackson, legendarily. So that's the type of offensive player Reggie Jackson was. Very, very good. Hall of Fame. Maybe not a legend, though.
Okay. So for my final Mount Rushmore, I'm going to go Reggie Jackson. So I got my 4 now.
Oh.
All right. Jake's takes.
I just didn't realize how much I love the Angels and Anthony Rendon for taking heat off the Red Sox.
That's true.
It was just nice listening to Max just have a fit over that.
Yeah,
that's true. There is objectively a massive dumpster fire burning in Boston right now, and nobody's talking about that.
We'll talk about it on Wednesday on the Name Redacted podcast featuring Justin Havens.
Nobody's talking about it. I'd also like to point out, Jared, I'm sure this came across and you might have overlooked it. It might have gotten caught in the shuffle here, but happy trails to one Colin McHugh. Colin McHugh hanging up the spikes, calling it a career.
I don't think anyone cares. You know what? I don't even have beef with him because he divorced his wife. My beef was with his wife. I don't even think they're together anymore. So me and Colin, we're just fine now.
Are you serious?
He saw what I saw in 2020. It just took him a little while.
Cannot be letting him lead you to slaughter like that.
I feel like he owes me an apology, and he should reach out and be like, you know what? I should have listened to you. I mean, for anyone that's listening that doesn't know the backstory, Colin McHugh signed with the Boston Red Sox before the 2020 season. And the day that this dude signs with the Red Sox, his wife just goes on Twitter and starts talking shit about me and like bragging that she blocked me. And it was all because Garrett Cole signed with the Yankees. And I was like playfully making fun of him for like a spring training outing or something like that. And obviously Colin and Garrett were friends from their Astros days. So she thought that she was going to be met with applause for her husband signs with the Red Sox and you block the top influencer in that market and everyone was going to applaud that. No. So she started getting bombarded with hate. And I just reached out to Colin and I was like, hey man, I just want to put this on your radar. Like, I'm not going to respond. Like, I don't want to draw any attention to this. I don't want her to get harassed or anything. And then he just like read it and didn't respond. I was like, all right, then fuck you. So that was it. And then I think he, like, when we were still with Barstool, like, he ended up like tweeting a bunch of shit about Barstool. And then like I went at him for that, but then whatever. I don't even fucking care now. But so it's water under the bridge. There, I believe they're not together anymore. So happy retirement to Colin McHugh. From me to you. Enjoy retirement. You earned it, big dog. For all that work that you put in 2020 when you opted out and didn't play a single game for the Red Sox.
Is that all?
What? Yeah. That's all we got. We'll be back next week. I'm putting it up to you guys. Oh, this is what I thought of. Remember the starting 9 days? During the off season, we would all give a prediction. Oh, do you think that someone will sign before the next episode? And then you can't pick the same person back-to-back weeks. I think we only hit that once or twice ever in the history of ever. So I'll put it to you. Who do you can choose no one. You can choose no one.
Matt Chapman to San Francisco.
Matt Chapman to San Francisco. Joseph?
So I got to pick someone who I think is going to get signed to a team by next week.
By the next episode, do you think you can say no one will sign?
Clayton Kershaw, Dodgers.
Clayton Kershaw to the Dodgers. That's a good one. Jay Hay?
I'll go Blake Snell to the Rockies.
Wow.
Get it.
Wow. I will go Whit Merrifield to the Mariners.
Okay. So that's a splash.
I mean, it's a guess.
That's why they cleared all that payroll earlier.
Mm-hmm. Jake, you want to take a shot?
Yeah, let's go Jordan Montgomery, Red Sox.
Yeah, that's a good pick. It's a good pick. Apparently he's just sitting out there and no team wants to give him more than 3 years. Like literally, if anyone is like, all right, 4 years, he'll say yes. But everyone's like, no, I'm good with that. What a weird market that's turned out to be. Anyways, we'll be back next week. What do you got? How do you guys feel about a guest? Just to like fuck around. Like if it was just like one of our friends in the industry. I'm not saying like we bring on like a active player or something like that, but just someone to fuck around and talk baseball with.
Papelbon.
Pap. Dallas, anyone come to mind, Jay? Hey?
Aubrey Huff.
I said friends in the industry.
I know Jay. I mean, yeah, we could
talk. We can take it offline. Yeah, we can take it offline. Jay, hey, anyone come to mind? No.
Do we want to talk to next week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like a little Tim Kirkchin in my life.
Oh, okay.
Timmy. I feel like we're hitting the part of that winter and the baseball offseason where what we really need are some laughs and some smiles.
Yeah.
So I think we call Timmy K.
Okay. And the repackaging debut of Storytime with Joe next week only on Baseball is Dead. Wow. Thanks for subscribing on YouTube. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. And we'll see you next week.
Wow.